I did it!
Let's talk to more fucky. Val Kilmer leaves this mortal plane. Morpheus gets the hi-hat, and David Fincher in the Tarantino universe.
Oh, it's time for class.
Class is in session!
Roll call! Bueller.
I'm gonna be late for class.
Bueller.
Am I hallucinating here? Just what in the hell do you think you're doing?
I'm late for class.
You are mine now. You belong to me.
Did you study for the test?
No more complaining. No more Mr. Kimble to go to the bathroom. Nothing. There is no bathroom.
Hello, classmates, and welcome to Middle Class Film Class. I'm your host for today, Joseph.
I'm Peter. And I'm Tyler.
We have a great show for you today. Welcome everyone on YouTube Live and otherwise, and of course the OG audio only listeners in podcast land.
Yeah.
Yes, and here we are on a glorious day.
Yes. Perfect day. A perfect day.
Yesterday was really nice.
Yeah.
Today I haven't been outside yet, so I can't comment.
No, it's gonna be nice. It's gonna be nice. We're I feel like we're finally getting into that, getting out of that.
Well, I would love to share the optimism of the weather that we are sharing, but don't get used to it because we only have like about 2 or 3 weeks of it until it just gets shitty.
Oh yeah.
I guess we'll see.
Yeah, that's exactly how Sacramento weather goes, and that's how the citizens of Sacramento react to it. We get these perfect days, which it should be illegal to work on, and then all of a sudden, bam!
That's what you can call out sick for.
No,
For 2 or 3 weeks.
no, I can't. I
Not
can't.
for like the day.
No,
Oh,
I
okay.
can't. I can't call out sick anymore.
Why not? You already used all your sick days.
I've done it too much.
You're not allowed.
I've done it too much.
It's illegal
Yeah.
for you to do that.
Yeah, they'll fire me if I call it.
Well, other than the weather, here we are talking about weather again. But how are we feeling?
I'm great. I'm wearing my rootin' tootin' vest here, my shirt that's
that's
vaguely Western.
That is an incredible shirt.
Tex-Mex shirt.
Where'd you get that?
Burlington Go Factory, where all the Texans shop.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm wearing my yes. Yeah, I'm all right. I mean, as everything, physically, I'm on the yellow
The yellow
meter.
what does that mean?
Well,
You scared?
like on the yellow meter,
have
like of
jaundice?
any. No, I do not have that. Like how in video games, like where it's like yellow, it's like you're not bad, but you're not good. Like you're not in the green, but you're not in the red. You're just kind of in the
Kind
middle.
of yellow.
Yeah, so it's
In cowboy terms, that means you're scared.
uh,
Are you yellow? Are you a coward?
I feel like that's racist in some way,
no,
but I
that's,
don't know.
That's racist for you to say that.
Oh, oh shit! Take the shears. Yeah, I'm all right. I don't
How about you? What's up with you, Joseph? You good?
Yeah, I'm. It's been kind of nothing too extraordinary actually happened this week.
I like the new ad you made with the dandelion.
Oh,
I thought
yeah.
that was a fun one. Change of pace to what you're normally doing.
Yeah, sometimes these going into my own work life, with these beers that get named,
He's in the industry.
is
by the way, classmates.
it kind of puts me at a like I don't know what to do with this.
The creative roadblock.
Yeah, it's like the kind of these obscure concepts.
Yeah.
Like the name of that beer is a really long name, and unimaginable fortune and serendipity.
Yeah, exactly.
Unimaginable,
Fortune.
fortunate serendipity.
Yeah. And the unimaginable part of that is like it's like a series. So like all of them start with that word.
Unimaginable.
And then it's like two words like sincerity and beauty, mindfulness and resilience.
Oh, okay.
And
Do you
it's
have can you have an input in the names or? Are you
yeah,
just...
I like Fortune and Serendipity is a new new addition to the series, and I came up with that.
Nice.
That's awesome, man, because that's a beautiful
pages.
string of words.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then a while ago I brought it up. I came up with Brindo.
Yeah, I remember that one. The Brian Doe.
I remember. Yeah, that was cool.
The Idiocracy. What do you call it? Inspired.
Crossover,
inspired beer.
Joe Bridges posted in the cinematics. They did a
Purple sticky punch.
Yeah. For like just don't know what to like name them, so they just think of like these insane names. Like, it's this. Like, whatever.
Which coincidentally,
grass, like what? Blue fescue? Like blue Delta bluegrass, that sort of stuff?
No, not lawn grass. You know what I mean.
coincidentally, the weed industry or cannabis industry and the beer industry have crossovers because we will brew sometimes with terpenes that come from like weed strains.
Interesting.
Yeah. So like they'll be described as more like dank flavor or
I've never
dank
smoked
aroma.
I've never smoked beer before, but I'm not against it.
Yeah. You could drink either
bowl
smoke a
hops.
beer or drink weed.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Smoking beer? Is that what we're doing? We're smoking beer here?
Yeah. But yeah, other than that, nothing too exciting.
Cool.
But watch some westerns.
Yeah.
But before that, let's get into some gab and chatter.
Find some charity, ye lad. Now's the time for gab and chatter.
Gab and chatter, movie news, movie related things in the world that we live in. Pete, what do you have to talk about?
First off, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the fact that we are in Western season for us.
Oh, for us here in the
Yes.
Middle Class Film Class.
This is our first subject of the new format, and it's all spaghetti westerns.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
We'll be talking about at least a minimum of 4 movies in the genre of spaghetti western or western.
Exactly. And some of this is like, for me, I have no exposure to spaghetti westerns, so it's going to be fun learning about it with you guys and the classmates.
Yeah.
And, but we'll get into that a little bit later, but it's pretty exciting, First format change in like 3 years we've had, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
It's been about there.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, so we'll get to that later. But first off, big news. I think that in the movie world is the loss of Val Kilmer.
Yeah.
The most beloved Val Kilmer died on April Fool's Day, and it was no joke. Very sad.
The cruelest non-prank that the world ever played.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he was attributed to pneumonia, the death to pneumonia.
Right.
But I mean, I know he's had a lot of health issues for the last few years. He had throat cancer. He had his voice box removed, essentially, or something to that effect, and made that great small part cameo in Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah.
Right. And then they did the documentary on him
Val,
too.
yeah.
Yeah, Val, that was great.
Haven't seen it. What's the first movie you guys think of when you think of Val Kilmer? Like for you?
Oh, for myself, yeah, Top Gun for sure.
Top Gun. Okay.
Yeah.
Batman.
Batman.
Yeah.
Cool. Mine's Tombstone for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I would have said Tombstone, but I watched that way later in life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, like I was just thinking like right off the bat, like Top Gun.
Yeah,
him
first
playing ice, like yeah. He was
Real
so
Genius,
good.
also a really good movie.
Haven't seen that one.
It's a better version of Weird Science.
Isn't it? He's in both of those, right?
I don't think he's in Weird Science.
He's not? Okay. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know really anything about any of those older ones. But he was also Victor Van Kunthe in MacGruber,
Yes.
which we covered on the show.
That's right.
Suck your own dick, cunt.
Also, Gay Perry.
Oh, yeah, Gay Perry.
Yeah.
Kiss, Kiss, Bang, Bang. Wonderful. So very, very sad, that Val Kilmer is no longer with us. He was a earnest, total movie star from Heat to Batman and all the
Heat.
stuff that we just talked about already.
And a passionate person in terms
Very
when it comes to his craft. I mean, and if in Val, you really kind of see where like his personal goals in terms of acting wanted to be, and his experience working on Dr. Moreau with Marlon Brando.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he fought for his role in Tombstone. Like he wasn't going to be in Tombstone.
He fought for his role in everything too.
Yeah.
Like he would like chase down casting directors and submit his own tapes and just he was relentless with it. And
which is why the documentary Val was so compelling, is because he videotaped everything about his life. Like there's just a whole archive of him just videotaping everything, whether it be like mundane or not. Like he was always like taping. And I think he died at 66.
65.
Oh, 65. Just way too young.
I know, very sad.
Way too young.
Heather in chat says Top Secret is another one, and 100% freaking love him in that. There's a great underwater fight scene in that that's so ridiculous.
Really?
Yeah. It's and it's funny that it's fitting for the subject that we're covering for April because it's set like a bar fight scene in a Western. It's like him and another guy jump off of a bridge. They're fighting off of a bridge and they fall into the water and they sink to the bottom and they start punching each other in the water. And then he turns around and there's a stool there and he breaks it over the guy's head. And they're under there for like 5 minutes. And all of a sudden there's a bartender. He's got a full bar underwater. He gets pushed up against the bar. The bartender breaks a glass over his head. And
I've never heard of this
you ever
before.
seen it?
No,
it's
that's
so fun.
awesome.
It's so good. There's even a group of guys playing poker that all have duck when the guns start coming out. He walks out nonchalantly, tips his hat through the swinging doors, and you're like, what the fuck?
That's awesome.
It's so good. It's really good. So the story that I wanted to share, though, was Will Forte and Val
No, that's my
Kilmer.
story.
That's your story?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was my story.
No, I'm the one that sent that screenshot.
Oh, okay. Well, we both wanted to do that same story.
I also sent the David Fincher.
Okay, I'll do the David Fincher one then if you want instead.
Because I said my news story and I sent a screenshot of that.
Oh, okay. I've been a little bit scatterbrained. Oh, yeah, that was yours. What was my story then?
I don't think you sent anything.
I'm pretty sure. Okay. Yeah, I've been a little bit scatterbrained this week at work, so I apologize. Well, let's just talk about the David Fincher then. David Fincher is basically going to set to do like a Once Upon a Time in Hollywood sequel, still starring Brad Pitt as Cliff Booth, and he's going to be taking the Quentin Tarantino property into a different direction, which is really weird because there is no Tarantino sequels. They have Kill Bill Part 1 and Part 2.
Yeah.
Which
but
isn't a
it's
sequel.
the same movie. Yeah. It's basically one movie. So this will be the first time that Tarantino has branched off into a sequel. from my understanding, since he's been a writer since like the True Romance days, it's the first time he's had one of his properties taken over by a different director.
Yeah.
I don't think that's ever happened. And now basically
But he wrote Natural Born Killers.
Yeah,
Natural Born Killers and True Romance, I think.
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I only know about Natural Born Killers, and like him and Oliver Stone like had like some sort of spat about it or whatever.
I'm not surprised. But it's kind of interesting, and Fincher puts himself in some really interesting projects. So, I'm not necessarily surprised.
It's an Alien 3 situation.
Yeah. It's funny because I still think of him as like a young man. Fincher, yeah, even though he's
A young man.
60 years old now or whatever.
Yeah.
And just because I don't know, I just feel
He's
like
an up-and-coming filmmaker.
yeah,
He's
just,
still up and coming, man.
he's still
He's
on
still
his way
coming.
up. He's on the rise. What do you guys think about that? You excited for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
That news story came out on April 1st, and so I was like, "Is this a joke?" Because it seemed the headline of that
You
seems
can't
like
trust anything on April 1st.
it seems so outlandish.
It does.
But then it was a true headline. It was a true story, and it's
Yeah.
happening. And one of the things I took from Once Upon a Time is that I wanted to see more of Cliff Booth's sort of story, but more of like the before part of that story. Because like there's a whole part where he talks about like his wife, and it's like kind of alludes to the fact that maybe he killed her.
Yeah. They do show a brief flashback on the boat.
And it's like he's only like a harpoon.
Yeah.
And she's just like complaining to him or something.
Yeah.
And then he's like, just like he's got his finger on the trigger, but you don't see anything happen.
Yeah.
But it's a sequel, so I'm curious as to like where is this supposed to take place after the Manson
I don't know.
whole thing, or and I'm also curious like because Fincher has a sort of style to his movies, and Tarantino has a sort of older like film look to his movies as well.
Yeah.
So I'm curious as to
Very
like
traditional.
how that is gonna translate.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. And I like thinking about if this movie was directed by a different director, what it would look like. So now we can kind of see that two like powerhouse directors that are still working.
Also, is Leo not going to be involved at all in this?
I don't know. Guess we'll see.
Because like that's like a part of the whole story is that their friendship.
Yeah.
Right. So
Well, see, I mean, this is where I'm gonna be the descendant on this. I
the descendant.
well, that's
You're the dissenter in this one now?
Yes, thank you, Tyler. I don't want to see a sequel to this movie. I don't think there needs to be a sequel. I was satisfied enough with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and quite frankly, I think this was Tarantino's weaker films. I don't know if that's an unpopular opinion or not, but after watching it, I didn't have the same afterglow of watching a Tarantino movie than I did after watching Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I thought that, I'm not saying that the movie wasn't good. I just think it's the weaker of his catalog. So, I mean, for a sequel, I was intrigued. I was thinking to myself, how can you make a sequel of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood when it was a pretty wrapped in a bow sort of movie? So I'm intrigued. I'm gonna watch it, of course, but I'm very curious how the creative forces are gonna take on this project.
Well, basically this came on the heels of Tarantino officially scrapping The Movie Critic. That was supposed to be his 10th and final movie. Brad Pitt was going to be cast in the lead role, and it was supposed to take place in the 70s and follow a film critic who wrote for a porn magazine. So now that's done. Tarantino said it's over. He's not doing that one anymore.
I heard he's doing a play for his final thing.
A play?
Yeah.
Well, if he does a play, then he still has one more movie in him because he made it clear. He's like, maybe I'll move to television after my.
What happened to his Star Trek movie?
Yeah,
it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
I also, I don't know. I have a vague memory of you recently saying that you watched it again, Hollywood, Once Upon a Time,
and fell in love with it,
and you liked it a lot.
Fell in love with it all over again.
I did. Yeah, I definitely said that, but that doesn't negate the fact that I think it's one of his weaker films.
Is there a weaker film than that in his catalog?
In his catalog,
Have you seen Jackie Brown?
No, I have not seen Jackie Brown. I've heard that. Okay. I have not seen Jackie Brown. I do want to check it out because I know it's it's like one of the underrated films of his. But after, I'm not denying the fact that I said that I fell in love again with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. However, just like out of all of the Tarantino films that I've seen, I thought that was the weaker one.
We're talking about his writing history. He did write True Romance.
Okay.
But that was after he already did Reservoir Dogs. So he wrote and directed Reservoir Dogs. He wrote True Romance, wrote and directed Pulp Fiction, and then wrote Natural Born Killers. He also had a segment he wrote from 4 Rooms, and he wrote From Dusk Till Dawn, which Robert Rodriguez directed.
Oh, that's the movie I was thinking of because I knew that there was another one.
But From Dusk Till Dawn, that's the last one, and that was 96.
Didn't he like write for like television too at some point?
He's got some other
I
stuff.
think he
too.
did like some CSI or something.
Yeah, he's got a couple. The
awesome.
Grindhouse.
Wait, he directed Dusk Till Dawn?
Robert Rodriguez.
No.
Did.
Oh, okay. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think it's interesting, and we'll see what happens. I mean, again, as soon as I saw it, I'm like, no, not getting me. April Fools. But here we are.
I am too smart for this.
Yes. So, anyways, I relinquish my time. Tyler.
All right. This comes from IndieWire.com. Lawrence Fishburne was turned down for reprising his Morpheus role for The Matrix Resurrections. I'm just gonna put all. Oh yeah. I'm gonna put all the cards on the table right now. This title triggered me because there was a lot of ambiguity when The Matrix Resurrections came out. Why isn't Lawrence Fishburne a part of this new Matrix, this new iteration of the Matrix? Because you have Keanu Reeves and then you have Carrie-Anne Moss a part of it, and no Lawrence Fishburne. What in hell? And so he goes on to say, I offered my services to the fourth Matrix. So he offered to work with them, like not like that they were begging him to go, like he wanted to work with them. I offered my services to the fourth Matrix, and they didn't respond well to that.
How dare you?
And so basically he was talking to, this is kind of like where the story kind of takes a little bit of a little turn in the road. Okay. He was talking to The View about this.
Oh, okay.
The View. He was on The View.
Trusted news source, The View.
He was on The View talking about his lack of participation in the new Matrix film.
He's like, I need work. I'm going to talk to the View audience.
I'm still waiting for Event Horizon 2.
Yeah.
So
Hell yeah.
that he was turned away from the project. Fishburne did not disclose which team member disagreed with his casting. Lana Wachowski solo directed the fourth film, which was Warner Brothers' release. Keanu Reeves and Carrie-Anne Moss were both back as franchise protagonists, Neo and Trinity, and Yahya Abdul-Mateen II took over as a different iteration of Morpheus. I offered my services to the fourth Matrix, and they didn't respond well to that. It's not like I didn't say I'd like to offer my services. I did. He added that for whatever reason, his casting in the 2021 sequel didn't happen. As for whether he would return for the fifth, this is where it gets really crazy.
Oh, now it's getting another turn.
As for whether he would return for the fifth Matrix film, there's a fifth Matrix film in development right now.
Just let it die.
I had no freaking idea that there was going to be a fifth Matrix film, which is in the works. Fishburne said that it would depend on the circumstances. So this is where he's kind of getting petty now. He's like, oh, well, you didn't want me for the fourth one. Well, you know what? Now you got to ask me for the fifth one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm waiting. Shots fired.
So he said, depends on the circumstances of who was involved. It depends on who was in. It depends on who was involved, how well the script has been written. So basically, he's saying,
I don't want to be involved if it was like the last one. Is what he's saying.
Yeah. He's like, I'm not going to ask to be on this new iteration of the Matrix, which I don't even know. Like, it's hard to wrap my mind around how you can make, let alone a fourth Matrix film. Like, I get the fourth one made sense in some way, but
it was a bold take.
It was.
I respect it. I didn't like the movie, but I respected what they did with it.
But
It's almost like how I hated Joker too, but I really loved that last scene and like what it all meant behind it. I'm like, yes, that's great. That's ballsy.
Yeah.
Too bad it was basically an hour and 45 minutes of a shitty movie before that. You know?
And so the news story here is that there's going to be a fifth Matrix.
That's the real news story.
That's the real news story. Well, and also I feel bad for Lawrence Fishburne though too, because like it like what I got from just that little snippet of interview about the fourth Matrix was that he was really passionate about the project that he was a part of. So he found out that the project was happening. He's like, well, can I be a part of it? And they're just like,
Yeah, to be fair though, it's not like he's asking to volunteer. He's also asking for a shit ton of money to be in the project.
Well, that's true because they did not disclose that if he was asking for an exorbitant amount of money.
Of course he's asking for a ton of money. He's fucking Morpheus. You're gonna give him like a day rate.
Day rate.
Can you work for scale, Morpheus?
I guess he
His
was.
real name's actually Lawrence, you know.
Yeah, can you imagine like calling him Morpheus out in public? Hey, Morpheus.
You know that happens. Hey, it's Morpheus.
Yeah, that's kind of cool though too. So it's kind of like a double news story here. Is like one, I found out that there's a fifth Matrix coming out, so
Double news story.
and then Morpheus is asking for work.
His name's Lawrence.
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 The Nebuchadnezzar is out of commission, so
Yeah. I mean, like I found out about this movie this morning. I found about this news story this morning, and at first, yeah, like I said at the top of the story, I was triggered by the title. I was like, oh man, like they denied him of like an iconic role, and then I find out that they're making a fifth Matrix, and then that even doubled my ire. And then I was thinking about it on the drive here while I was rushing over here. Well, what would a fifth Matrix look like?
I don't even remember the fourth Matrix.
Yeah.
Resurrections? You don't remember Resurrections?
No, it was a easily forgettable movie.
Yeah, it is forgettable.
I remember there was a video game of the Matrix
Yeah.
story,
Yeah.
and then
Neo in real life was coding the video game of the Matrix.
Yeah,
but he had no memory of.
Yeah,
It was like deja vu.
Yeah,
He's like,
yeah, it was. I mean, I might have to revisit again.
and then Trinity was actually Neo
Oh
or
yeah,
something like
what?
that.
yeah. It was.
I don't remember it at all.
It was
And
real.
Neil Patrick Harris was there too.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, he was the bad guy. or
Yeah,
something.
he was the bad guy. I don't know how Warner Brothers put the stamp of approval on it.
They didn't. The Wachowski says if we do it, we have to get 100% creative control. You don't get final cut.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and then basically like, fuck the studio. This sucks.
Yeah.
Soulless executives forcing us to make a video game.
They disparaged Warner Brothers like directly,
Openly, yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Oh, they lost Nolan and
And the Wachowskis.
yeah. Well. But yeah, so that's my only news story for this week.
okay.
I actually found what my original news story was.
What was
I
it?
had to scroll up further. An upcoming Army Hammer crime thriller.
Oh yeah,
that's
the
right.
Dark
Yeah,
Knight.
the
They were
Dark
going to call
Knight.
it The Dark Knight, and they said we had a very friendly conversation with Warner Brothers and decided to change the name to Citizen Vigilante to avoid any confusion with the Warner Brothers famous character.
That's such a dictionary title of a movie.
fucking yeah, and of course it was Uwe Boll that did it. Uwe Boll is directing an Army Hammer movie called Citizen Vigilante that they wanted to call The Dark Knight.
Does he eat his criminals?
You know, there's actually a relation of Army Hammer and Armand Hammer.
Yeah,
Like that's why his name is Army Hammer. It's because of Armand Hammer. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah,
he's the
he's-
dynasty of Armand Hammer.
yeah, just like
that's
fucking,
so stupid.
just like Tucker Carlson is Swanson's TV dinner fortune. His family used to own Swanson's TV dinner, and they sold the empire.
Really?
Yeah,
But that's his name isn't Tucker Swanson or Swanson TV dinner.
Yeah,
His
but
name is Army Hammer of the Armand Hammer legacy.
yeah, the what's it called? Baking soda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that's it. You can move on from me.
Okay. So we got a little teaser earlier. The Val Kilmer, Will Forte.
That's so good.
So apparently, Will Forte, after his hearing of the passing of his friend Val Kilmer, who he starred in MacGruber with, he wrote a first-person essay for Vulture which you can read if you subscribe to Vulture. It's behind a paywall, unfortunately.
Oh.
And when they had a brief stint of them being roommates while they were making MacGruber, because Will Forte was having problems with his landlord, and so he moved in with Val Kilmer for like 3 months.
Can you imagine that? Hey, Val, I need a place to
This
stay.
is all over. You and I should get an apartment together.
So Forte was having a dispute with his landlord in Malibu, and he asked if he could move in with Val Kilmer. And so they lived together for 2.5 months, and it was during this period that Will Forte introduced Val Kilmer to the reality television show, The Amazing Race, which Val Kilmer apparently got really into.
Awesome.
Then at a certain point, Val Kilmer said to Will, you and I have to go do The Amazing Race. we have to. And Will Forte says, I'm so fully in. So both of them got really excited about doing The Amazing Race.
Oh, that's so funny.
And you guys seen the show?
I'm aware of it.
Yeah, I'm aware.
It's been around for a long time. And I know I've seen like a few seasons of it because growing up, my mom would watch it. And you're just basically kind of traveling around the world doing various competitions as like contests and going from point A to point B each episode and doing challenges.
It's like a Spartan race sort of.
No, you're traveling around the world, but they give you it's almost like a scavenger hunt, but you have to complete things instead of find things.
Yeah, you have to do tasks and stuff like that.
Oh, it's like IRL video game playing.
Sort of. It's a game show that just is traveling.
Yeah.
And so they called each of their agents and managers, and the agents and managers were like, there is no way that you guys are doing that.
What? Dickheads.
And that is maybe to this day the biggest regret in my whole career that I never did The Amazing Race with Val Kilmer.
That's so funny.
He says, I think we would have gotten out very quickly, but it just would have been the experience of a lifetime. I wish I had more time to remember the old stories. There are so many memories I'm leaving out. I'm sure we talked about collaborating on other stuff together, but nothing really serious. He was always like, I'm going to do this thing for Francis Ford Coppola or something like that. Somehow we lucked into getting him to do MacGruber, but I didn't know if I was going to get that lucky to get to work with him again. I settled for being his roommate.
Jesus Christ,
That's so cool.
That was so heartfelt. Like at the end, I was lucky to be his roommate. My God, I can't even imagine like being a fly on the wall, like seeing them, just talk about this, that, and the other, like like spouting out ideas to each other while they're sitting on a couch, like watching TV or something. I would have loved to see that.
And
that's a TV show on its own. Val and Will.
It's an interesting combination too, like Val Kilmer and Will Forte, because Will Forte is SNL alumni and like one of the more like underrated cast members of that show.
Oh yeah,
had like some of the funnier skits of that time.
The Falconer.
Exactly, the Falconer.
I'm Steve the Mortimer Falconer, or the Falconer Mortimer.
And Val Kilmer, who at this point in career, he had already done like Batman, Tombstone, and a bunch of other roles. In some regards, he was a serious actor, and then he does this sort of like ridiculous, raunchy comedy, SNL movie. And he like gives it like 100% in his Victor Von Kuntz?
Yeah, Victor Von Kuntz.
Yeah.
He has a line delivery in that movie that I'll never forget because it seems so like antithetical to the character and Val Kilmer in general. When he says something about, I can't remember what the line leading up to it is, but he says, oh yeah, well I'm just gonna shoot the rocket off or whatever. He's like, oh, I already disabled it, and Kuntz just says, weak.
Oh yeah.
He's so pissed. He just says weak, but the way he says it is so funny.
Yeah.
Are we recording?
Yeah.
On Audacity.
Oh, it stopped.
That's what stopped. Remember when it stopped and it's like, the thing is recording or whatever.
When did it stop?
I don't know. It does that. It does that sometimes.
Oh God. Oh well, we're still recording on OBS. So what do I do here? Don't send.
Don't worry about it. At this point, it's not going to do anything.
Just say don't send.
Yeah, don't send. Yeah,
okay.
and just quit Audacity.
All right. So you're just gonna use this audio?
I'm going to have to.
Yes. Sure. I don't know.
No.
Oh God.
No. That's only pre-show.
Oh okay. When did it stop?
Remember when my phone went and it said, "Oh, do you want to be a microphone? You want to set it up as a microphone now?"
Oh, well.
That's when it triggered. So can you just open it up a new one and just start rolling on it?
Okay.
This will be a heavy edited. This will be a lot of extra work, but that's okay.
All right. We're recording.
Yes.
Okay. And that's all I have as far as news stories go.
Cool.
Falconer, Will Forte could have had an episode or two of them on Amazing Race.
John and Ryan are they're trying to get on the Amazing Race.
Yeah.
They have an Instagram.
They're very fit gentlemen.
Yeah, they have an Instagram account that's amazing John and Ryan.
Yeah.
And they're like trying. They want to. I don't know if they're like still actively doing it.
They sound like magicians.
Yeah.
The Amazing John and Ryan.
Yes, that's right.
All right. Well, that's it for Gab Chatter. Let's move on to some stream picks.
Movies.
Want to watch a movie?
Yes, I do.
Disney Plus. Oh, HBO Max.
If I don't get the pick, show's over.
I have grown accustomed to Hulu Plus.
Amazon Prime.
I like Netflix.
You found the pick.
Stream picks, movies that we watched during the week on our respective streaming services that we'll recommend or not recommend to you. Pete.
Okay, so this week I only watched 3 movies, and one of them was our featured movie, Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, so we'll talk about that later. And the first one I watched was a very light-lifting, super goofy movie from Adam Sandler that I'd never seen before called Murder Mystery.
Oh.
Starring Adam Sandler, Jennifer Aniston, Luke Evans, Terrence Stamp, Gemma Arterton, David Walliams. That's a weird name. Walliams, not Williams. Walliams. And a couple other people you might recognize. Basically, the plot of this is that Adam Sandler is a police officer in New York City, I believe, either New York or Chicago. I think it's New York. And he's trying to become a detective, and he keeps failing the detective course. And he's very capable, but he's just bad at taking tests, is what they say. Okay. So he keeps failing. Jennifer Aniston plays his wife. They're on their 15-year anniversary or something like that. And she is basically upset because he promised to take her to Italy when they first got married. And it's been 15 years, and he keeps putting it off, and now he's forgotten about it, and she has not. So they decide through circumstances that they're going to go to Italy for their anniversary. And on the way there, she meets in first class the character played by Luke Evans, whose name is Charles Cavendish. And he is the nephew of the billionaire, whatever his name is.
Cavendish, yeah.
Cavendish,
okay.
And she finds out that he's basically loaded, and his uncle's loaded, and he's by circumstance he's loaded, and he invites them to come go to Italy. Hey, you want to be my guest? I'll come to Italy with me. You can stay on Lake Como with me or whatever. And they go and do that, and then they are basically in the room when a murder happens, and the old man changes his will to cut everybody in the family out of the will and give it to his new young bride. And then the lights go out, and then Cavendish Sr. is murdered. And
sounds like Knives Out.
Very similar, but it's more goofy. It's played goofy, and it's and Jennifer Aniston's character is in heaven because she is
in heaven.
She's in heaven because she watches, she reads murder mystery books all the time, and she's like, and when she meets the guy Cavendish, Charles Cavendish III, she goes, oh, well, your name is right out of a murder mystery novel, and he goes, if that's the case, what character would I play? And she goes, with a name like that, you have to be the villain. And then they get swept off to Italy, and they're in the middle of this murder mystery, and then they become the suspects because they're like the police, Italian, French police, whatever country it is that there's under jurisdiction is like, you are the only random people in this room, and this billionaire is murdered. Everybody else stands to gain money except for you or whatever. I think that you got paid off by somebody to be here. Blah, 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 blah. So they're in the crosshairs. And Adam Sandler has been lying to his wife that he's a detective because he keeps failing. Oh. And so there's a whole subplot with that too. And for most of this movie, I was like, okay, it's kind of lame. But there was some really good kind of little gems, some sparks of gold in there.
Yeah.
Their relationship feels very natural. Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston. They just seem like a married couple that's been together for a long time, so they got a lot of in-jokes, they got a lot of good chemistry and stuff. And he's not a particularly likable character in this. You know, he's kind of a schmuck, and not in the traditional Adam Sandler way. Like the only redeeming quality that he seems to have, you know, because he doesn't particularly seem to care about his wife. He thinks about her last in every situation. But about the only redeeming, you know, quality that he has for the most part is that he actually is a pretty good detective. So he helps solve the mystery and figure out who it is and blah, blah, blah. And like I said, this is very, very light lifting. And it's probably like a 3-star banger, you know?
Okay.
So you expect kind of this kind of movie, kind of what you would expect, but a good, you know, polished version of it. And this is truly the trope of Sandler vacation movie. Him and all his friends going on vacation because now they're in the most beautiful areas you can imagine. And there's a Ferrari Testarossa chase scene through the streets of Italy, and it's really cool looking. There's a lot of like interesting, fun stuff there. And it's like, it's fun. It's a fun movie. So you can watch that on, let's see where it's streaming. Netflix. It's streaming on Netflix.
Sweet.
Easily accessible. 2019 murder mystery. And then my only other streaming pick is a Western that is not a spaghetti Western.
American Western.
It's an American Western, yeah. So I don't know anything about any Westerns. So I'm thinking John Wayne. He's in spaghetti Westerns.
John Wayne.
No, he's not. He's in American Westerns.
Yeah, he detests the Italians.
So and every minority. So this is from 1956, directed by the classic American director John Ford, starring John Wayne himself, The Searchers. This is a Civil War veteran who is fighting for the South, spends his years searching for his young niece captured by Indians. His motivation becomes increasingly questionable as the time goes on. He's a piece of shit, this character. He's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Do they try to portray him as not a piece of shit?
He's morally ambiguous.
Okay.
It's like he's the default hero, yet he, at one point, he says he's going to kill the niece when he finds her because she's been taken by Indians and she's more Comanche than she is white. Now,
At one point, he's like,
I don't know, man. That 15-year-old's pretty hot.
yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, this is about as shitty of a protagonist as you get. I mean, and we're going to get into the good, the bad, and the ugly, but it's something similar.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, he's the good?
Yeah, he's the good.
He just double-crossed his business partner and fucking killed like 3 guys in the process. This whole scheme works out, man. No one has to die except for these guys.
But I wonder if like the portrayal of the John Wayne, because he was seen as like the national hero in terms of like the American Western cowboy days.
Yeah.
Correct.
Or is it like, are they leaning towards that like anti-hero sort of character?
I think it's the latter. There is definitely an intentional anti-hero aspect. Part of it is that he's got like PTSD from the war. They don't call it that, and they don't recognize it. But
They don't call it PTSD.
They call it shell shock.
No, they don't even call it shell
They call
shock.
it being a pussy.
Yeah, exactly. No, it was more like, you know, somebody asked him to talk about the war, and he says, you know, if you knew the things that I knew, partner, you wouldn't want to ask that question or something, you know. And he's like trying to recant terrible things from his past, and it's clearly affecting him, and he's becoming enraged.
Yeah.
But this was just funnier than I expected. Sometimes intentionally funny,
Really?
and sometimes unintentionally funny.
Okay.
And with the retrospective gaze, the unintentional funny stuff was there. But there was also a number of like jokes that were actually pretty good, you know, in it. So I don't know. It's really interesting watching these. Like half the time I was laughing, like, holy shit, the things that they're saying. You know, so the very beginning of the movie, he comes back from war. Everybody says, oh yeah, it's Uncle Ethan. Uncle Ethan's back from the war, and they're all doting on him and stuff. And then a posse of Texas Rangers kind of say, hey, we need to come up, and we think there's some cattle rustlers out there wrangling, you know, rustling your guys' cattle. They take off, and then they realize, oh, it was a trap. They wanted to get him away from the house so they could go burn down the house and kill the wife and kids.
Yeah.
And you're like, to what end? for what purpose are they doing this? Like, why would they do that in the first place? Just because, hey, because they're there and they're savage Indians.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's talk about like half breeds and like the first time.
Oh my God.
Yeah. The first time he sees one of the guys who's like basically his nephew.
Yeah.
He's like a kind of raised with his niece, you know, as the same age and stuff. And he goes, "You're Martin?" He goes, "Yes, Uncle Ethan." He goes, "I could have taken you for a half breed." And you're like, "Holy shit!" Just because his skin is like slightly darker. And then he says, he basically says, you know, "Oh, and they tell me I might be a quarter Apache or whatever, and you know, this and that, German on my mom's side, so they tell me." And throughout the whole movie, he's like, it almost seems like he can't trust him because he's a mixed race. And then, so at some point, they find who they think might be the niece. That there's a niece and a younger one that gets kidnapped, and they're like, and the story spans years and years, like 4 or 5 years or something like that. And they find these, you know, young girls that are taken, and the implication is that when they go in to see them, they're stark raving mad. Like the woman is coddling a piece of wood with a blanket wrapped around it like a baby, and she's like shaking. And the men walk into the room, she starts screaming frantically, and they like jiggle some keys in front of her and they're like, "What?" to calm her down. "My baby, my baby, my baby." And they're like, "What happened to her?" "No, the Comanches drove her mad."
Her sister was a witch!
And you're like, what the fuck is that? What's the implication here? That you spent like 5 years living into the Comanche way of life, and now I don't know if it's because you're like a sex prisoner or something like. I don't know what the implication is, but and then there's the unintentionally funny stuff of just about like the kind of crappy production of it, because at one point after they chase down a bunch of the Indians and they're gone or whatever, and they find a grave and they lift it up. There's a big flat rock, and you can tell it's a gravesite, and you see one of the tribesmen down there. He's got a blanket over his head and kind of dirt kind of half strewn across him. And you can see the actor breathing, clearly not even trying to hold his breath. And are like, "Is that guy hiding under there?" And they're like, "The dead Injuns, they don't bury him that deep for nothing." And then you're like, what the fuck?
Christ.
This guy's supposed to be dead. The actor's just sitting there breathing. He's not even trying.
It'd be funny if you just like,
Yeah.
he just like wipes like a bug. You just
there's a number of scenes like that too, because there's a scene when he's going into a teepee to go take his niece out, and he wakes her up. He goes, "Hey, it's your cousin Martin," and she screams, and he covers her mouth. There's like 10 Native Americans sleeping around her, and one of them like jostles awake when she screams and then pretends to go back to sleep.
the extra got scared.
Yeah, the actor got scared.
Startled.
He got startled.
Yeah. And, like clearly it glances over at the scream and then goes back to sleep really fast. Which is funny because like I think this is kind of
Must have been the wind.
yeah.
Is it like a regarded movie?
That's what I was gonna say. I think this is a pretty highly regarded movie. And it's got a 3.9 on IMDb, or sorry, on a Letterboxd. Highest rating is a 4-star. Second highest rating is a 5-star, and it's not a bad movie. It's actually pretty damn good. But just in retrospect, there's a lot of bad stuff in it. It's like, of course, you're looking at that from a historical standpoint, but just also in general, it's a little bit more ramshackle than I was expecting of a production.
Well, the standards back then were just not so high.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it makes sense because this is 1956. I thought it was 66. It's 56. It's 10 years before The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Okay.
And it definitely feels like a very classic Hollywood production. And it's some beautiful scenery, some beautiful shots. And there's a...
Is it in color?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's it's supposed to be in Texas, but it's shot in Utah. So you can see the big buttes out there.
Oh, yeah.
And they're very clearly...
Texas?
Yeah, and it's very...
Utah.
It's funny, too, because there's a character who is played straight, I think. I don't like he's played for laughs, but he's got one of the most fucking ridiculous Southern accents I've ever heard in my life. He sounds like a straight up cartoon character. You can barely understand a word he says.
Yosemite Sam.
I'll say.
No, he's more it's more played like he's a dummy, which I think maybe a little bit like a good looking dummy, like a himbo.
Okay.
Maybe, but oh my gosh, some of the
He's a male bimbo.
Yeah, he's a himbo. So this is The Searchers. I had to rent this one for $3.50 on YouTube. I'd say it's I'd say it's worth it.
Okay.
It is worth it. It's been on my watch list for a long time, and a couple of my friends who are into older movies recommended it to expose myself to more westerns. This is pre this series. So it just was on there, and I thought, hey, you know what? We watched a great Clint Eastwood movie this week for the show. I got to watch a great John Wayne movie. Balance it out. I got to get both of the greats of
the Clint Eastwood of America.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it's also interesting too because more of these movies than I realized are set in the Civil War, and the Civil War is a really strong kind of undertone throughout a lot of these movies. And he has a Medal of Honor that he gives to one of the girls, and it's a recurring thing. But he was fighting for the Confederates, and then at some point the Yankees come out, the Union forces, and they try to recruit them for something else, and he goes and fights with them too. So you're like, is he a piece of shit, or is he just fighting for the Confederates because he's in Texas?
I don't know. Maybe he's just a piece of shit.
Did they have slaves in Texas?
Well, that's a great question.
In my mind, I'm thinking it's like Mississippi, Arkansas, Kansas,
Alabama,
Missouri,
Louisiana,
Missouri.
Yeah, but when you get to Texas, it's like, well, we can't afford them. So, I mean, we would if we could, you know what I'm saying? But it's Texas. We just dirt farmers out here.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Fucking liberals.
Yeah. So I would say go watch The Searchers, 1956, directed by John Ford, starring John Wayne, Jeffrey Hunter, Vera Miles, Ward Bond, Natalie Wood.
Natalie Wood.
Yeah, Natalie Wood's in it. And a bunch of other people you would probably recognize but couldn't tell you the name of. So that's it.
All right, Tyler.
All right, I have...
Oh, yeah, and I forgot. Yeah!
So I thought we were going to talk about the Westerns that we watched in the second half of the show, which is fine because I can mention the one that I watched. Hour of Death from 1964. This movie, I don't know anything about it. Paul Piagat, Claudio Undari. Like, it's just a bunch of actors that I do not know or care to know, really.
Why'd you pick this one?
I don't even care that I watched this movie.
I don't even know I'm fucking here.
So the reason why I picked this movie is because the name sounded cool.
It does sound cool.
It says Hour of Death, and I was like, that sounds badass.
Directed by Joaquin Luis Romero Merchant.
Mm-hmm. And so this movie is about this woman who fakes a pregnancy or fakes an illness and says that she's pregnant. So they have to go and traverse to a town through a treacherous territory of Indians.
The Apaches.
Yeah, I don't know why I forgot that name. And then her previous husband, who was jailed for murder, is released from prison, and then joins the farmer and his former spouse to get money from the farmer. Like, it's a pretty convoluted plot. It's not very well acted, and it's a very racist. Very, very racist.
That's the one constant I think we're gonna see with all these.
Yeah. The one thing I was thinking about was I almost cursed you, Joseph, because I was like fighting my attention. I was like, oh my God, I'm watching because because the constant of the Westerns is that they're so freaking boring. It's so boring. Like, there was no excitement. Like,
I didn't tell you to watch that movie.
But the genre of movie you told me to watch, and so I this is streaming on YouTube, like literally for free. Like, you can watch it. It's only an hour and a half long. I thought there was a good story there. But I feel like it was just executed just in a way where they didn't realize the potential of the idea of like this person faking their own illness to get money from the rich farmer that she married so that her man can take out the farmer, and then there's a bunch of other people that are involved knowing that there's this scheme going along. Like, it's basically like everyone knows what's going on, but they're like waiting to show their hand, essentially. It's in black and white, so like it's not in color, so you can't really see like the good like desert scenery. Yeah, I mean it's okay. I don't know.
How did you even find this?
Are you recommending this or not recommending this?
I mean
I watched it. What can I say?
Well, no, I mean, I would recommend it for the story. Like, I think the story is compelling enough to make it through the whole movie. The reason why I found this movie, though, is because I just literally Google searched spaghetti westerns.
And
that first link.
And the title of the Hour of Death is what drew you in.
So there's a YouTube playlist that you can search up that has all free spaghetti westerns that you can look up. And I was just scrolling through like the playlist, and then I saw Hour of Death, and I was like, well, that's a pretty badass name. Let's see it. And I think the story is strong enough to watch it throughout. But what I kind of like had like this like realization when I was watching this movie was that these movies were like a dime a dozen in like the 50s and 60s. So there's going to be duds, and then there's going to be gems. And
well, this director has not anything that great in terms of anything he's made.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
I think this is his highest rated movie.
Yeah, probably. Hour of Death
on YouTube.
On YouTube for free. That's definitely a spaghetti western down to a T. My second streaming pick is 1978's Piranha. Yeah, that movie is fun. That is a fun movie.
Where's that streaming?
That is streaming on Amazon Prime. It's definitely a quintessential B horror movie.
Okay.
About piranhas wreaking havoc on a local town lake. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I mean, it's only an hour and 34 minutes, but it definitely feels longer, but in a good way. Directed by Joe Dante. I don't know who that is. I'm not gonna even go through like.
You don't know who Joe Dante is?
No, I don't.
Okay,
I don't.
And I don't care to know.
Yeah, and
don't even try to educate me in this classroom. He directed Gremlins.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
I love Gremlins.
No, you don't.
And I don't care that I love Gremlins.
I like the movie. I just don't know who directed it. I don't know who was involved. Piranha, very, very fun movie. It was a really fun movie to watch, like right after like I got home and got off of work and just rested my shoulders like, all right, let's put on Piranha. It came up on Amazon recommend, and I was like, oh, that sounds cool.
Cool.
And my second, or I guess third streaming pick is, and you guys are gonna like this one.
I can't wait
because I've been putting it away. I've been putting it off for a long time, but then I said enough is enough. I'm gonna sit down and watch it. Sleepaway Camp.
Oh, you finally watched it?
Good for you.
Yeah, I loved it.
I was gonna say I knew you'd love it.
I love that movie so freaking much. It was so good. Like it was creepy. The pacing was just really well done, and then of course the twist at the end like delighted me to no end. I thought that I was on the edge of my seat because I was trying to figure out. It was like I was trying to figure out like what the mystery was. Like I was like, who's killing these campers,
Mm-hmm.
and I couldn't figure it out.
Really, you didn't know the ending?
No, it took me completely by surprise, and it made sense to me. I felt like kind of like a dumbass after the movie ended. I was like, I should have known, Jesus Christ. But I mean, it kind of tracks with the kind of intelligence that I have as a person. But
I was watching when I watched it. I was like, I could not have predicted that ending.
No,
I didn't.
I only knew because I knew that scene, the shot at the last shot of the ending.
Yeah,
how horrifying.
Friggin' Sarah Silverman looking mask they got on her.
Just the slow, just
yeah. It was so good. Like I loved it so much. And I thought about you guys while I was watching. I was like, I can't wait to mention it on the show.
Baldies, we
because
call them.
I remember Joseph, you told me don't look up anything about this movie, just watch it. And I was like, all right, done and done. And so I did, and yeah, this is definitely going to be like in like definitely a list of one of my favorite like B horror movies. I wouldn't say top 10, but like definitely up there.
It's a very fun movie, especially.
Yeah.
It's also very funny.
Yeah,
It is funny.
Eat shit and live.
Those crop tops and short shorts on those guys are really working though.
Oh yeah, I was thinking about like maybe for coming into our Halloween season, I would just start wearing like the half shirts and,
Just on a regular basis, not just on Halloween.
Yeah,
Crop tops.
yeah.
They're
maybe getting like a Jerry curl, like grow out my hair. Get
can't say
Jerry.
that.
You gonna get a perm?
What do you mean? I can't say
Can't say that is illegal.
what?
You gotta get some soul,
Oh, I forgot we live in America now. There's illegal things we can't
soul
say.
glow in your life.
Well, Sleepaway Camp, I'm glad that I watched it, and now that we can all say we've watched it. So
Cool.
We
great
can all.
stuff.
I've been waiting.
Now we can all say it together.
Yeah.
All right. On three. You ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
We
watched
did.
it. Wait, what were we saying?
Oh, I thought we said
watched
we
it.
did it, but we watched it. We watched it. Okay. And then I have a very gray area anti-streaming pick.
Gray area.
Yeah. So I'm
Grandma's bush.
Like you don't know if it's an anti-stream.
gray area.
Oh, what is that? So this is streaming on Tubi. Oh yeah, Sleepaway Camp is streaming on Amazon Prime. I forgot to mention.
Okay.
This is streaming on Tubi though. This is 1976 Squirm. Now
Worm.
yeah, this is also in the B horror movie genre, and so I say it's a gray area of a streaming pick and anti-streaming pick because it's kind of so bad it's good, but it's also really boring.
It's about leeches, right?
Worms.
Is it worm? Are you sure it's worms?
Worms.
Well, they show pictures of, or they show like clips of leeches like doing their little like thing.
Could have sworn there was a
they-
leeches movie.
Well, but they call them worms. So
okay.
for the sake of the conversation, it's worms. It's about like a power line goes and electrifies a worm farm, and then all these worms become carnivorous. And
nice.
so,
Spoiler alert: they already were.
I go into this movie thinking it's just gonna be campy worms, like eating people. It's not that at all. It is a human drama that just happens to have carnivorous worms involved. And not until only like the last 20 minutes where you get worm action. And so but the thing is, it's funny because of how bad it is.
Okay.
But it also, there is a lot of lulls in the movie, and it's again, this one is only an hour and a half, but it feels longer, and it definitely drags on. However, I did have I wasn't upset that I like had watched the movie. Like I was like, oh yeah, there were some fun parts, but at the same time, if you're not into like that kind of genre of like B horror movies, and you just go into it thinking, oh, this is just going to be a funny, campy like horror movie about worms eating people, don't check this out, because you are not going to be satisfied. But if you like bad acting and bad direction, but as some sort of like fun like idea, then you'll like it. But that's streaming on Tubi, so like if you're all into the B horror movie genre, definitely this probably would be a fun movie to check out. But if you're not, then I can't say that you should check that out.
Tyler, do you have Shudder?
I do not know. I do not.
Do you have Philo?
I don't even know. Do I have Philo? What is
Philo.
Or do you have Cult Picks?
that?
That's actually a disease.
Oh.
I was going to recommend you a creature feature B horror that you would really love too, but it's,
What would that
it's only
be?
on Shudder. It's called The Deadly Spawn.
The Deadly Spawn.
Yeah, 1983. Very good.
Okay.
Anyways, but it's only on Philo, so you can't watch it.
Yeah. But yeah, those are my picks for the week.
Okay. Well, I didn't watch any westerns other than the one
What?
we're going to review.
This was your genre.
But I do have a few streaming picks, and they're all pretty good. They're all like pretty good to very good.
Nice.
The first one, it's a documentary. It's on Netflix. Came out this year. It's called The Twister, Caught in the Storm. And if you want to watch like a real life scary, like real life tornado that happened in Joplin, Missouri in 2011, and with like footage of it, it was like a EF5, I think.
Really?
That ripped through this really small town
Finger of God
in Missouri, and you have different different people who had different were in different parts of the town and had different experiences.
Oh, that's interesting.
Going through it, and there's one where they were driving, like they were out miles from the storm, and they were recording on their phone, and they just never stopped recording, like by accident. So, and there's a point in it where you just sort of hear the twister, and like eventually they get caught in it.
Ooh.
Damn.
And they're just like holding on for their dear life.
They don't die, do they?
There's nothing that other than like this town being demolished.
There's none
of the people involved in the documentary like had didn't say that they had anybody in their life die, but 160 people I think died in the disaster.
Jesus Christ,
that's a pretty high death count.
I believe so. And it's a scary watch. There was an aspect of it that I didn't even think about when it comes to like I guess it's tornadoes specifically, or even maybe like a hurricane or typhoons, is that the tornado essentially like unearthed a fungal bacteria, a flesh-eating fungal bacteria.
Whoa.
What? And one of the people,
it's The Last of Us.
One of the people involved in it, he was in a car with three other people, and the car was lifted up in the tornado. He was sucked out of the car.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
He survived, by the way. Hate to bum you out.
Sorry, Tyler.
That doesn't bum me out.
The human being survived that, much to your chagrin.
And he was infected with this virus or this bacteria. And other than being like physically like maimed by the tornado, like just being like thrashed around, he had like this virus inside of him that was eating his flesh.
Jesus.
Gross.
And they had to cut parts of his body out to remove the fungus.
Jesus.
And they show like his post self. He has like this massive scar, like big chunk of his torso missing and his arm and stuff. And I mean, he's survived and he's alive now.
Good.
But it was something I didn't even think about. Like the things,
would you?
The things that are underneath the earth,
Yeah.
that have been there for centuries and eons, that are like just hibernating, waiting
to kill us.
Yeah.
like with the glaciers melting and like there's stuff in there,
Things coming out.
Yeah. But yeah, it was
so
it was scary. It was a scary watch, and it was a tragic event, but it was a really well put together documentary.
Cool.
So that's Twister, Caught in the Storm, streaming on Netflix.
How long is it? Regular feature length?
It's like an hour and a half.
Okay, cool.
It's not
It's
too
not like 3-part series or anything?
No, it's 89 minutes. Yeah, so
That sounds scary.
yeah. And my next one, also a documentary, streaming on Mubi.
Nice.
Grand Theft Hamlet.
Oh
yeah.
Grand Theft Hamlet is takes place inside GTA 5 online.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
And it's about these two out of work actors during the pandemic who have only are doing this, essentially. And in the game or in the documentary, they're like, in the beginning of it, they essentially stumble upon like a theater location on the map of Los Santos in GTA. And as they're like running away from the cops, as you do in that game, and they're like, oh, you could like do something here. And they're from the UK.
Okay.
And so like they're just hanging out online, and then they find the stage, and then you can do like a little production or something. And like at first it's just like just them two having fun, and then them two do a part of Hamlet, the play, just to themselves, and then it sort of snowballs into like this bigger production. Like, what if we do this? What if we actually have like a production? What if we hold like auditions? You know, and essentially they just go around GTA asking random people who are also online.
Also GTA Online with all these other people. Okay.
Yeah, and I think they must have like posted it somewhere as well, like outside of GTA, that they're like doing these auditions. And
That's so funny.
And one of them is married to this. I think they're married. I believe they're married, and they have kids. And coincidentally, she's the documentary filmmaker in this, and so she starts playing it as well in like the same household. And I think that's kind of like where the idea spawned, to like capture all this thing, these moments, and like the start to finish production of this. And the making of the play and doing the auditions is the story of this. And it follows kind of like a 3-act structure on its own, just by chance. And
do you get to see the finished play?
You do at the very, very end. But before that, there's even like some emotional like moments, or a climactic like the two dudes come at an impasse, because essentially it takes over their like personal lives. And then they have to deal with like the actors that they hire. Like I think they cast one person to play Hamlet, and then at late stage of the like rehearsals, in real life he gets a job.
Oh, that's so funny.
And this is like because the pandemic is like it goes through like the pandemic's kind of coming, like it's like things are relaxing now, and like things are starting to open up again.
Yeah.
And so everybody's not just stuck inside anymore.
Yeah.
And they have to deal with that. At one point they talk about like, should we even do this still? Like, and there's another one of the two. He is going through something, because there's a part in it where he says he had come back from his a funeral for his dad's sister, and it was the last his last living blood relative.
Oh my God.
Wow.
And he's not in a relationship, he has no kids or anything, so he's like, this is the only thing that he has, and there's sort of like an emotional argument that happens between them. And he's like, I have nothing else. This is all I have, is this GTA production of Hamlet.
It's so sad.
And I'm not like, there's no work. Like theaters aren't calling me. And the other guy, like, you have a wife and kids. Like, you have a life outside of this.
Mm-hmm.
And,
I don't.
And it's sad. It gets sad at one point.
I'm sure.
But it's
sounds a very interesting documentary.
It's really interesting. It is a really like interesting documentary, because it all takes place within GTA. Like there's the only part that you see that's outside of the game is them winning an award for that production of Hamlet.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's so funny.
And that's like during the credit scene.
That is awesome.
But yeah, if you have Mubi, the 12 of you that have Mubi,
me and 11 other people.
Yeah, me, you.
Oh yeah,
and
the other
10 other people.
10 other people.
I would recommend this. It's really well put together.
Movie's great. It's got a lot of stuff. I need to watch more on there.
Yeah, they have an interesting selection.
They got Barry Keoghan movie that's supposed to be really good. Can't remember the name of it though.
Bring Them Down,
something like that. Yeah.
I believe. But yeah, Grand Theft Hamlet streaming on Mubi.
Cool.
And then the best thing, 5 out of 5 movie that I watched this week.
Ooh, cool.
It's dropped on Max recently. The Sing Sing.
Oh yes.
Coleman Domingo starring alongside real former. I don't know if they're former prisoners, but they were playing essentially themselves in this story, because it's based on a true event.
Yeah.
And Coleman Domingo plays plays an actual guy, and the actual guy is a producer, and has a cameo in the movie. So this movie, how I would describe it is essentially like Shawshank mixed with like Last Black Man in San Francisco.
Okay, that's cool.
And because I get the feeling like there's the whole movie, I'm like sort of like smiling the whole time.
Is it a positive movie?
It's because it's essentially centers around the rehabilitation through the arts, which is a program in prison in which they put on plays. Like prisoners can join this program and then they're involved in like theater. And essentially Colman Domingo plays John Whitfield. Also he goes by Divine G in the story, or in real life and in this movie. And he is an actor and a prisoner who he was in prison for 25 years. And there's a part in the story in which like he is like trying to like prove to the parole board or to that he didn't do the crime that he's in jail for, which was homicide.
Damn.
And that's why I like kind of draw like the Shawshank part of it.
Yeah.
But that's not like the main plot of the movie.
It's a tale of two friends.
The more of the story is this other guy named Clarence Macklin, also known as Divine Eye. He joins the program, and he's kind of like rough around the edges. Like you would think that he would be like someone like him would be like embarrassed to do like theater.
Yeah.
Like putting himself out there.
Sure,
Yeah.
And there's a little bit of that in the beginning. Like he kind of has like a tough exterior, and he's like, you would think that there would be like some like confrontation, some problems. Like you guys are doing like this like fancy shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like that's not like his personality. But there's like strong character arcs with him, and there's some really like heartfelt moments. There's a part in the movie where they're doing auditions for this crazy mashup play of that was actually happened in real life, called Breaking the Mummy's Code, which was a mashup that included Egyptian royalty, Roman gladiators, cowboys, Hamlet.
Sounds like it's Tommy Wiseau production.
Yeah, it was just like a genre bending thing.
Let's put pharaohs in there too.
And the remember in Sound of Metal, the guy who ran that sort of rehab, he plays the sort of director.
Ooh, I liked him.
Yeah,
he was really good.
He plays the director
Impactful.
of this group. And while they're doing that, every time they meet, it's also like a therapy session for all of these inmates. And it's a really, really good movie.
It's on Max.
I've heard nothing but glowing praise.
It's really good. It was like, it's like you're smiling the whole time, and at one point it's like you're on the cusp of like tears, and at the end it's just like it's just so, it's a wonderful, like a delightful movie.
Nice. I'm gonna watch that.
And yeah, I loved it. And it was directed by this guy named Greg Quedar. I've never even heard of him. I think he was mainly a producer before this, and because he hadn't done anything that I hadn't heard of before.
This movie pretty much universally praised. Almost everybody on my watch list. Bruce gave it 5 stars. Joe Bridges gave it 4 stars. Jason from Bench Movies gave it 5 stars. Mitch, 4 stars.
Yeah. And at the end, you see sort of, there's some like real footage of like the actual play, of like the actual inmates doing the play. And other than Colman Domingo and the director and I think one other person, the rest is they played, the inmates essentially played themselves from when the story takes place.
That's cool. I really like that.
Yeah,
I can't wait to watch it.
It's really good.
I just keep putting it off.
There's like a constant, the pace of it is wonderful. You know how like in Oppenheimer, how it's like it just kind of goes from scene
Continuous
to it's
movie.
it's like you're floating through this movie and floating through the story,
No
and
downtime.
And there's like this sort of underscore that's like really, it reminded me of Last Black Man a lot in terms of that.
Cool.
And the vibe I got out of it. But it's filmed really well, and it just looks fantastic, and it just...
What part does Jonathan Majors play in that?
He's just a prisoner
Oh, okay.
He's just a prisoner.
for domestic violence.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh no.
Cool. Awesome.
But yeah, really, really good. Streaming on Max.
Okay. Anything else you guys wanted to say before we go into our closing?
Yeehaw
thoughts here?
mode.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeehaw mode. Yeah.
Till we get into the what is that? Where's my drop here? Time for some spaghetti.
No, I don't have anything.
You go then?
Yep.
Okay, so thank you to our cool ass yard duties over on Patreon. That's Javier, Heather, Michael, Steven, and Chris. If you want to support us on the Patreon, you can do so. Patreon.com/middleclassfilmclass, or you can just watch us on the YouTube. That is its own way too. Share with your friends, people who like long form podcasts, conversational sort of stuff, like to laugh, like movies. That's kind of our target demographic.
Yeah.
Until next time. Thank you for joining us as we gab and chatter. Follow us later on in the week as we watch, review The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. As a kickoff to our Spaghetti Western April. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/MCFC podcast, and send us an email, mcfcpodcast@gmail.com.
And follow us on Instagram at Middle Class Film Class.
And follow us on TikTok at Middle Class Film Class, and on Twitter at Podcast MCFC.
That's right. We'll take a break in about 15-20 minutes. We'll be right back. See ya.
See ya.
Okay.
Oh my god! What?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Middle Class Film Class. I'm your host for today, Joseph.
I'm Peter.
And I'm Tyler.
And this week on Middle Class Film Class Movie Review Edition, we will be discussing our first movie for the month of April's topic, spaghetti western,
That's right.
and that would be The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
I sure hope this doesn't get copyrighted.
I really don't. I sincerely hope it doesn't.
If they can use it in memes, we can use it on our freaking live stream.
Is our live stream going to get slashed
Taken
in
down.
seconds now?
I mean, we're talking over it. That should be something, right?
We should just redo the music in our voice. And hard cut.
All right, cool.
All right.
Oh, still playing.
Wait a minute. Pause it really quick.
The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, directed by Sergio Leone. The best to ever do it in terms of spaghetti westerns. But before we get into the movie itself, little presentation about spaghetti westerns to understand exactly what spaghetti westerns, when they started, when they were most prominent.
Yeah, why are they calling that?
Spaghetti westerns are called spaghetti westerns because they were made primarily in Italy by Italian filmmakers and starred mostly an Italian cast. Or Spain was also another. They were also made in Spain at some point.
The famous Spanish disc, spaghetti.
Yes.
Spaghetti.
They were also called Western all'Italiana, Italian style Western.
What does that mean? Oh, he's just...
Just said
I don't speak Italian, so you know.
And this whole movement started in the 1960s and it went to the late 1970s, but they were most prominent in the middle of the 60s, especially with the series that we're going to be talking about today, which was the third in the series, actually, and what's called the Man with No Name trilogy or the Dollars trilogy.
I've also heard it called the Blondie trilogy.
Is he called Blondie in all of the movies?
I don't know.
Okay. They were often filmed with low budgets and featured anti-heroes for protagonists, dastardly villains, desert landscapes, and non-traditional music scores, and plenty of violence.
It's funny they say non-traditional because now that's what I think of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
At the time, it was before that we had movies like The Searchers and John Wayne and
And I'll tell you, when I watched that, I thought this score sucks because I watched it after Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and I'm like, this is cheesy pie bullshit.
So some characteristics of spaghetti westerns would be anti-heroes with questionable and selfish morals. For example, doing things for money or revenge, despicable villains that represented the worst in people, desert landscapes, shanty towns, subversion of traditional Western tropes, which would be identifiable heroes and villains, happy endings, black and white morality, and then also a commentary on politics and relations among others. And there's some dispute as to like what the first spaghetti western is. Some say it's this animated parody movie of western movies called West and Soda, which I started watching. I watched like the first 30 minutes of it. You can watch it on YouTube, and it's pretty funny. It's like early animation.
It looks like Hanna-Barbera type animation.
Yeah, exactly, and some great visual gags in it as well. Yeah, West and Soda is what that's called, and
1965.
But the true start is up for dispute. No one really knows exactly what the start of the spaghetti western. But what made it a household name was this trilogy: A Fistful of Dollars, For a Few More Dollars, and then The Good and Bad, the Ugly, which would cement Clint Eastwood as the man with no name, or Blondie. And at the time, Clint Eastwood was not a household name. He starred in a Western show called Rawhide, which is where Sergio Leone saw him. And he actually, I don't even think he wanted Clint Eastwood initially for the role of this character. But he was cheap.
Really?
Yes.
A lot of decisions that I made in life was because it was cheap. So
Yeah. Because of money.
Yeah.
And so that's basically the start of it. The films were shot in low budgets, like I said, making their money back even if there was not much of a box office return. And they emulated the CinemaScope look without the use of anamorphic lenses. So those the lenses that Tarantino uses that are really wide frame that you can when you watch it, you can really feel that the sort of the scope of it is just really the ratio of it is narrow and wide.
The Searchers was on VistaVision.
Yeah.
For sure. And it specifically laid it out. There was a very big title card at the beginning.
What they did instead is they would use spherical lenses but use a smaller but wider frame with 35 millimeter film strips. So it's almost like they were doing a faux anamorphic look with these movies. And there's plenty of film grain involved in this. So it has that sort of kind of gritty look to these movies, which just adds to the Western sort of desert landscape.
Yeah.
Makes it feel a little bit more dirty. Outside of the Dallas trilogy, Sergio Leone also directed Once Upon a Time in the West, and is often regarded as one of the best spaghetti westerns of all time, along with his Dallas trilogy, making him, Sergio Leone, the preeminent Italian director of spaghetti westerns.
The GOAT.
And really the only one that I know of for sure. There was another director with the same name of Sergio, but a different last name, who also put his hat in the spaghetti western genre and directed, I think, a little bit more of violent. Sergio Corbucci. Some of the most violent and bleak westerns, including Django and The Great Silence, which are bona fide classics.
So can we talk about the format? Is for the rest of the month we're going to be doing these spaghetti westerns, learning together about it, because I don't know nothing about them.
I don't either.
And I made the mistake of watching John Wayne movie this morning and thought, oh, this is a great spaghetti western.
Yeah,
it's American.
The American western, yeah, the classic American western. So next week, and I'm assuming we're just going to go in rotation. Next week will be my movie, then it'll be Tyler's movie, and then the week after that will be the Patreon pick. So we need to put that call out to the Patreon so that you guys can pick your movie as a group, collective group, vote on it. We maybe pare it down to a top 5 or something like that, however you guys want to do it. And I'm going to make the post right now while we do the show. I'll post it on Patreon and basically say, here are the movies that we're covering. The 3 of us, the 4th one's yours. So my movie is going to be The Great Silence.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Yeah, so it's exactly, I looked at the list of some of the greatest spaghetti westerns. It was near the top, and I thought, I've never even really heard of it. And Tyler, yours is?
Hudson River Massacre. Now, I don't know if it's prominent or not. I just chose it because the names sound cool. Just like if you listen on our previous episode, I chose that spaghetti western based on its name. So I'm purely going based off.
Did you find it off of a list?
Yeah.
Okay.
The YouTube playlist that was aforementioned in the streaming picks segment that we did. So yeah, I don't know if it's good or not. could be terrible.
It is very low rated on IMDb.
Yeah, okay.
A 4.6 on IMDb.
All right. Well, you know what? We'll go hand in hand into that journey together.
Also, not a Italian director.
What?
No.
Armando de Osorio.
He's Spanish.
Oh, okay. Well, my apologies. I'll have to look up an Italian-directed spaghetti western then. It was told to me that it was.
Who told you?
The internet.
did. And I did zero follow-up.
It was no, it was categorized as a spaghetti western, so I just thought, like it was the correct.
But who categorized it? Is what I'm saying?
I don't know.
It's
know.
also
You said it was on a playlist on YouTube.
Yeah,
it's also set in Canada.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. I mean,
brand, Tyler.
It said it was a spaghetti western.
No, let's leave it. Let's leave it.
Because it's not a spaghetti western.
On IMDb, the first category says spaghetti western, action adventure, drama western.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Well, then, all right.
That's it. That's fine. It's going to be a Tyler pick. So we're going to have
It's a Tyler pick.
The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, The Great Silence, and
Hudson River
Massacre.
Yeah, so those are going to be the three from us, and then the fourth one will be the Patreon.
Okay.
So I'm gonna make that post, start it here, and then I'll finish it before the end of the episode, and basically we'll have the rest of the month. We'll have the rest of the month to basically make that decision.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing that I think is cool about doing it like that is when we put that call out there, I'm hoping that a bunch of people are going to say, and this is class clowns, cool ass yard duties, teachers assistants, anybody who's on the Patreon.
Anybody with a pulse.
Yeah.
Anyone with a pulse
can tune in and make their recommendations. But I'm like, let's just say there's 10 options and we pare it down to one. We pick one somehow. Well, that means the three of us have 9 other great options that the classmates want to listen to that maybe it could be streaming picks for us.
Maybe.
Yeah. So I'm going to get that.
So get to work.
Get that going right now.
Yeah. And then kind of jumping ahead here, I wonder if I should just save this for the end of the subject about the end of spaghetti western genre, or should I just bring it up now? But by the 70s, the spaghetti westerns had fallen out of popularity, and not only were way less of them being made, but the remaining ones were lighthearted comedies.
Yeah. I've heard that there's a big comedic component that doesn't really get talked about with the spaghettis.
In the peak of making spaghetti westerns, almost more than half of Italian productions were all western movies.
Yeah.
Capitalized
on that real quick.
Yeah. And so that's a little background on spaghetti westerns, why I want to do spaghetti westerns, because I like some modern westerns, and I know of spaghetti westerns. I know why they were called spaghetti westerns, and but I've never branched into actually watching one of them. Mm-hmm. So and I'm pretty sure like Good, Bad, the Ugly was like a movie, like a dad movie.
Yeah.
I feel like so. That's a good certified popcorn movie for the dad generation.
Yeah, I felt like I had a kid sleeping in the next room when I was watching it.
Maybe there was a kid. Is there a missing child anywhere?
Josie, do you want to lead us off since it's your pick? Give us your thoughts on
sure. What it was. So yeah, Good and the Bad and Ugly, directed by Sergio Leone, written by Luciano Vincenzoni, Sergio Leone, Agenor Inroci. Starring Clint Eastwood, Eli Wallach, Lee Van Cleef. Those are the three main characters, the titular Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. But in the movie, it's in reverse. So maybe they were like the ugly, the bad, the good.
Well, in a Spanish and Italian and French, you put the adjective before the noun.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the backwards that way.
But in this case, they're nouns.
They're
right?
all nouns.
Mm-hmm.
They're all
known as
adjectives.
Tuco is ugly, Sentenza or Angel Eyes, is bad, and Blondie is the good. Mm-hmm. And there's some filmmaking tropes in here that this is the early days of setting the tropes, right? Where things came from.
Yeah.
And I could see that retroactively in other movies or even modern westerns, calling back to that. And especially the amount of the amount that Tarantino owes to these movies and martial arts movies is like
it's immense,
astronomical.
Yeah. Their Venn diagram is almost a circle.
Yeah. But The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, never seen it. I just know Clint Eastwood is the through line through all of these. I don't know story-wise if there's like any connection between them.
I don't think so.
But it's just like it's almost like an episodic like stories, but just with this character through these 3 movies. And I should have known that this was the third one.
We didn't know.
The third
I had
one.
no idea.
I didn't know until this morning. You told me.
I know, I
Probably
didn't
should've watched
either.
those two.
I was like, damn. I guess I should have picked the first one, but I didn't know.
This is widely regarded as like the granddaddy of them all. This is like the big one.
Yeah.
I mean, it was certainly like a Western epic for sure.
Yeah.
And it ends in this big like Civil War battle in the background, pretty much, and then a standoff, the classic sort of Mexican standoff. And I will say that this movie it's really good, a bit long-winded. Probably could have. It probably could have. I mean, for me, it probably could have cut like 30 minutes out because there's just a lot of like, just long shots of like someone walking or like wide shots of the scenery. But the movie has like, it just like oozes like coolness and style.
Yeah.
And it's a vibe.
It's more of a vibe.
But like the character introduction of the bad is like a really, really dark and evil introduction of a character.
Well, he's the bad.
And
It was brutal too.
yeah. And I had no idea what this movie was about.
Yeah.
I didn't know that Blondie or the Good and the Ugly were in cahoots together, scamming people, taking advantage of the Ugly's bounty that he has, and just ripping off towns. I didn't know that was an element of it. I thought they were just all after just this one, like this pot of gold, basically.
Yep.
Yeah, I liked it. It was definitely 3 hours.
Yeah.
It was
a lot longer than I was expecting.
but it's an epic for sure. It's an epic tale, and I enjoyed it. I don't know if I would revisit it. There's a lot of things that I did like about it, in terms of like filmmaking, and just like the way it's presented and shot, and edited. And I'm like, oh, this style Tarantino just ripped this off. Just
Yeah, really.
like the character introductions, like the freeze frame, the good,
Yeah.
the bad. Kind of like it takes you out of it. It takes like a meta step out of it, you know?
Yeah.
It's almost like it doesn't take itself that seriously.
To me, that part of it made it feel like you're watching or listening to somebody telling a story.
Yeah.
Like you're like, oh, this is a story about these three guys. And it's like when the freeze frame happens and you get the title introduction of the character, you're like, oh yeah, this is a movie. This isn't just a story that happened in historically or something.
It was funny when I was watching it. Deanna was in the room, but she wasn't watching it. And by the end of it, or towards the end of it, she's like, "So is this movie like exciting ever?"
How dare she?
Like at all?
How dare she?
Because there's a level of like boringness to it. But I wouldn't say that's necessarily a detriment, because a more modern movie, Assassination of Jesse James, could be described as a boring, slow watch. But I love that movie.
I do love that movie too.
And that's a definite, like, sort of definitely more of American Western. But yeah, Good and Bad Ugly, it was really good. But yeah, definitely felt that 3 hours after like towards the end. I'm like, all right, roll the credits. But yeah,
Cool, awesome. So I'm gonna agree and disagree with you right now, because I also agree that probably could have cut about 20-30 minutes out of the movie, but I would have left in all the long shots of the people walking and took out a lot of the people talking. I preferred the cinematic, like character oozing, like the scenery chewing of the characters just glancing at each other.
Yeah,
was perfect.
Yeah,
it was great. I liked. I've talked about it on the show a lot. I like schemes in movies. I like when somebody's got a grift they're doing on somebody, and I really enjoyed that. The bit between Tuco and Blondie, where they're running this grift town to town, and he's literally putting his life on the line. He's trusting him to have the dead eye shot to cut him down. It's like that's a huge. You're simultaneously trusting this person with your life, and also, can't trust them. He's like trying to negotiate for a higher wage or a higher cut of the grift or whatever. Yeah. And they're trying to get the price.
He makes a good argument. He's like, I'm the one risking my life.
Yeah, that's right. It's a what do they call that? Honor among thieves or a bandits.
Honor among thieves
agreement or whatever, thieves agreement. And I really like that part of it. I didn't expect that. I didn't expect that the good guy was such a piece of shit. He's cool as hell, but like.
He's not good.
They're running the grift, and you're like, if in a like a modern Hollywood movie, it would be, well, we figured out a way to do it where no one dies, and in a perfect situation, no one does have to die in it. But the first time, before you even realize they're in cahoots together, he kills those 3 guys that are trying to get they're trying to just get basically, I'm gonna make some money. Here's a bandit. I'm gonna go here and take him into town and get my $2,000.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But
and then he's like, yeah, not on my watch.
No, yeah, he says. That's not one for you to catch. Bang, bang, bang.
Yeah, he's going in, but you're not the one taking him in or something like that.
So badass.
And I loved his jacket with like the hole that went all the way through the side. His like gun sticks out the side of the slot. I'm like, that's dope. That's like a cloak or something.
Yeah.
So I definitely felt that the costume design influenced Charlie Prince in 310 to Yuma, played by Ben Foster. The white double-breasted leather jacket.
Oh yeah,
very similar vibe. Although clearly not the same thing. It's not a duster like Clint's character is wearing.
Yeah,
but definitely some influence there. Definitely influence in 1994's Maverick, starring Mel Gibson. Yeah, he's running a grift the entire time, and he's a charismatic sort of guy, but just more of a. Riggs. He's more of the character of Riggs from Lethal Weapon in the Cowboy Times in that movie, which is also
love that comparison.
Side note, one of the single greatest cameos, a true cameo, which is like just a second in Maverick. There's a bank robbery that Mel Gibson's in, and Danny Glover's the robber. And he comes in and robs the bank, and he's got a bandana over his mouth. Over top, bottom half of his face, and Mel Gibson pulls the thing down. He goes, "What are you doing? You can't look at my face." And he puts it back up, and then they both glance at each other, and they look away, and they look again, like, and then they just go out their separate ways. It was a fucking great cameo.
Oh, great.
Anyways, I don't think it can be understated just how influential this movie was to so many movies afterwards. So many aspects of it were like, "Oh, that's where this comes from. Oh, that's where this comes from." And I also didn't realize how large of a scope the movie was, because that large Civil War scene.
A lot of extras in that.
Tons of extras. And to be honest, a really good explosion.
Yeah.
That bridge was a great explosion. Fun trivia about that I'll tell later. But yeah, so that was impressive. And then when they actually get to the cemetery at the end, you're like, when are they going to get there? When are they going to get there? And he's just like, I'm just going to go dig up all the graves, essentially. And he gets there, and it's like an endless sea of graves.
Yeah.
And that entire shot with the music and the singing and the wild dog running around. Yeah. And you're just like, the editing was great. The shots choices was great. It's so fucking good. And how Sergio Leone was able to do this, not speaking a lick of English. And none of the characters on the set, none of the main actors spoke Italian.
Right. Yeah.
That the guy that played Tuco and Sergio spoke in French to each other to communicate, because they both also spoke French. So it's like just the sheer the roadblocks of production to make a very low budget movie like this, and it turned into one of the greatest American non-American American Western movie
Yeah.
is so fucking cool. So yeah, I really loved it. I had a great time with it.
Yeah. This was my first time watching it as well. Obviously, I've seen clips of it on TikTok before. So, I mean, I really watched 3 hours of this movie on TikTok. Just kidding. I watched it normally.
That's 2 for flinching.
Yeah, I really underestimated how much I would enjoy this movie. I think what I was when I heard the music the first time, you know, like that, like when you think of that music, like you don't, I never really like not understood, like I never really appreciated the origin of the music because it's like in popular media and stuff, like as like being like the classical,
That's the
like,
classic
cowboy music. But hearing it in the original movie, like it really got me into it, really sucked me in. I was like, okay, yeah, this is really compelling stuff right here. Like I can understand why how a lot of people would take influence from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Yeah, this definitely felt like a 3-hour movie for sure. I wouldn't say that I was waiting for it to end, but I was kind of like waiting for it to get to the finale. Like I was getting a little impatient, not in a bad way that I was getting impatient for the finale, but I'm just like, I really, out of everything that I have been seeing coming up to the final point, like I was really anticipating on how it was going to end. And I think that's what this movie for myself was successful at doing, was that it really drew you in and made you anticipate on like, how does this movie end? Not in a bad way, like you're wanting the movie to end. You want the movie to end, but you want that movie to end in a good way, if that makes sense. Like I really want to see like the conclusion of all of this. The shots were just jaw-dropping beautiful. I did not realize how beautiful this movie was going to be going into it. And funny enough, like when I put this movie on, I thought this was only going to be like, you know, like an hour and a half, hour, 45 minutes. And then when I put it on and I saw the runtime, I was like, holy shit.
Yep.
And I thought like the acting was appropriate for the theme of the movie. I wouldn't say it's like, you know, Academy Award winning, like sort of dramatic acting, but it was.
Who do you think was the worst actor then? Who didn't meet your expectations?
Clint Eastwood, honestly.
Wow.
I didn't think he. I mean, I thought. I don't think he had. I don't think his character was developed enough for myself to.
You didn't like the part where we went like this?
Yeah, I thought
it's kind of like it's kind of like Ryan Gosling's Roll and Drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean,
Man, a few words.
Yeah, but I don't know what it was about his character. I was very much more into Angel Eyes and The Ugly. I think those were more compelling characters for me. They showed the most emotional range, and they had a lot more stakes, where Clint Eastwood is just some guy who just like takes advantage of situations and just shoots people dead for very little reason. But that's not to say that the overall aesthetic of Blondie was very captivating. I thought that he was just the picturesque like icon of what the American cowboy should look like. Get out of the way, John Wayne. Here's Clint Eastwood playing as Blondie. And yeah, I could definitely see the influences on popular culture from this movie, which I thought was really cool to see the origin of those influences. And I think in regards to Quentin Tarantino's influence of obviously this movie, because he takes a lot from this movie, I think Quentin Tarantino refined the long form Western story with the Hateful Eight. With the Hateful Eight, if everyone recalls, when it was released on Netflix, it was released in 4 parts, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So I appreciated that because I feel like if The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly was released in like a 3-part movie, like not like like
a mini series,
like a mini series, I feel like I could suck in the story a lot better.
A lot of sucking in this in your review. It sucked me in. I could be the one doing the sucking.
Yeah. Yeah,
I felt the miniseries.
Yeah, I felt like I was sucking off Sergio. Sergio. Anyways,
I'm your host, outrageous Tyler.
That's not going on the board. But I feel like Quentin Tarantino realized if you're gonna have this long form, like epic story, like put it in parts so that you can appreciate the story going forward. As with The Good and the Bad and the Ugly, you're kind of like bombarded with a bunch of different plots and you kind of forget them like as the movie is going along. At least I did, like the side plots and stuff. I knew like the main goal was to get to the cemetery, but there was a bunch of different interesting side plots too, like regarding the Civil War, like the grift that they were doing in the beginning, which I thought was really, really clever. Overall, I really enjoyed this movie. I would revisit it again, but I think it would have to be in like a really special circumstance. Like
I have to be showing somebody.
Exactly. That's where I was gonna go with that. So yeah, that was it. Was it does credits due where credits due. It was good.
Good job, Sergio.
Yeah. You know what? It's Sergio Leone guy. He's all right. You know.
Yeah.
Jackson the chat saying he's actually seen this movie and he didn't like it.
That gets a whip. Hold on.
Yeah, multiple lashings.
Yeah.
Bit too long for you?
I didn't like it though. Well, it explains it. He's Australian.
Yeah, he wants to watch The Proposition.
Yeah, The Proposition.
Yeah, you should watch The Proposition, Jack. That's Australian Western.
Yeah, exactly.
He's gonna say he's seen that too, and I don't like it.
Maybe you should move out of Australia.
He did. He said I did.
Oh, you did? Did you like it?
When you covered it. Oh, well.
Did we watch it on the show or a whole episode?
Well, we waited with the bated breath, Jack.
I know I've watched it because at your recommendation. I couldn't remember if we did a whole episode on it though.
We did.
He liked it
more than this.
Okay. Everyone's entitled to their wrong opinion.
He's a Guy Pearce fan though.
That's true.
Unlike Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say that I would go back to watch The Proposition more than this movie.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. I think I would watch The Proposition.
Just because it's like half the length.
Half the length, yeah.
So I would be happy if they just took out the whole part of the Civil War encampment where the Ugly is like beating the shit out of the guys and everyone knows it's happening, which also felt like the bridge on a river.
You mean
Yes.
the bad?
Yes.
You mean the bad beating the ugly?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was definitely like, ooh, this is like Bridge on a River Kwai.
Which came out before
believe so.
this.
Yeah, because Bridge came out in the 50s.
Old Ben Kenobi getting the shit kicked out of him for the bridge.
Yeah, and then there's a scene in this movie where the bad is just watching a guy get the shit kicked out of him for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And
it was funny too because the turning point was when he gouged his eyes.
Yeah.
At the point, he's like, okay, I'll talk.
Yeah.
All right, now, okay, not the eyes.
Yeah.
I mean, you punched me like twice. I'll probably talk. Just to be fair.
You just like that.
Please, okay.
Here's my social security number.
There's definitely like, in terms of like influence, how they discover about the money, the buried money in the cemetery. It kind of reminded me of No Country for Old Men, finding that just Josh
You're
Brolin
right.
finding that.
Totally right. I forgot. And then when he's and even first thing he asks from him is for water.
Yeah.
Which is the same thing. I want water.
Yeah.
And he just asked, and I love that Blondie crawled over to the guy to get the secret before he died.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, get away from him. He's dead now, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, I mean, this movie kind of unlocked a new well, not a new fear, but it revitalized a fear that I've always had, is getting stranded out in the desert.
Oh yeah.
Because there's a lot of getting stranded out in the desert in this movie, and I don't even understand how they could have survived with those little canteens of water and just being out in the sun in those long clothes. Like I was
You're
thinking,
better off being fully clothed.
well,
in the
yeah, that's
desert.
true. Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, that's true. But like, I was just like, when Blondie was like just like crawling in the sand, and he looks like modern day Clint Eastwood. I was like thinking to myself,
You don't know what you're talking about, do you?
Fitting.
Friendo. Yeah.
I was thinking to myself, Jesus Christ, like kill me now. Like I would have just taken a bullet. Dehydration is probably the biggest fear of mine.
I like how
Dehydration?
Yeah.
Or dying of thirst?
Yeah.
not even witches.
Well, that falls into witches too. Yeah.
A witch depriving you of water.
Oh, it's even worse. I thought it was funny when, like, for one thing, like, why be an asshole about it if he's gonna split the money with him? Like he's at the beginning, the first part, he gives him his cut of the money when they go their separate ways.
Yeah.
Blondie and Tuco.
When he ends their contract, their relationship.
It's like, why be a dick about it? Just give him the money and part your separate ways. You don't want to leave him 70 miles from town.
I know. I thought that was a little cruel.
Again, our hero. He's our hero.
That's what's about these movies. Is like you're not supposed to like necessarily root for any of these people.
Yeah.
Don't call him the good then. It's in the title. But under his face, the good. I'm the good guy.
I would say comparatively.
Sure. The good comparatively. On a scale, man.
Sliding scale.
I just thought it was really cool. He's like, it's only about 70 miles away. I remember I was sitting at my desk. I was like, 70 miles away? Like, do you understand he's out in the middle of the desert?
And then that entire sequence when Tuco gets his revenge on him, and he's dragging him through the desert, and he's basically giving him water, but he's soaked his feet in it. He's like stinky feet in it or whatever. It's in his hat. He's got him the boot to drink out of. You're like, fuck, would you do it?
Yeah, if you're dying of thirst, you're gonna have to drink anything.
He seemed like he was like paralyzed at that point. Like he couldn't do anything.
Yeah, I thought about that. I probably would have taken my shirt off and soaked my shirt in the water, and then wrung it into my mouth. Because then it's got more my stink on it than his stink.
That's too much work. I would just been like,
You'd have been just sucking his. I mean, the boot.
It's for survival. It's for people drink their own urine.
You don't even have urine at that point. Just dust comes out.
Ain't nothing. Nothing to piss.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I think that they really depicted dehydration well in the desert in this movie, because you're weak and like, especially so.
Got a headache.
I will give. Yeah, you have a headache. I'll give Clint Eastwood this on his performance, is that in that first like quarter of the movie where he's being dragged through the desert and he's just like basically crawling, looking like his modern self right now. Like he definitely looks like he's dying of dehydration.
Jack.
It's the motherfucking MCFC podcast.
Yeah, Australian Jack. He says his favorite countries. Or his favorite westerns are
His favorite countries.
No Country for Old Men, Django, Bone Tomahawk, and Damsel with Robert Pattinson. I've never seen Damsel.
Cool.
It's lowly rated, 5.5 IMDb, 2018.
Interesting. No Tombstone.
Yeah.
No Tombstone.
I know.
Come on.
Right after Val Kilmer died, you can't even say Tombstone.
I know. Come on.
Yeah, all post 9/11.
Post 9/11.
Not seen Tombstone.
We haven't. Well, that doesn't surprise me. What was I gonna say? It is worth mentioning though that all these movies are pre 9/11.
Okay.
Yes.
These spaghetti westerns.
Were the towers even up at that point?
I think they were being built.
I doubt that.
They were probably
The towers were down in a different way.
Yeah. Jesus fucking Christ. I do agree though that the Civil War camp like sequence of events could have been
73.
Okay, so
73.
Yeah. All right. Well, they were in planning. I do think the Civil War camp sequence of events could have been cut down, although I think that it was. They
just got roped into it somehow.
Well, they were. It was another hilarious turn when they're pretending to be
the Confederate soldiers.
Union forces. And
Yeah, because they were
No, they were pretending to be Confederate forces, and then they see the cavalry come in, in the foreground.
Right. You're right.
And they looked like...
Because they're covered in white dust.
Yeah.
They look like they're
And then
gray.
they-
And then they
blue.
had that awesome shot where he
Hey,
just like...
come over here. Hey, we're part of you. We hate the slaves.
They were Confederates, and they were saying, "Yeah, praise to and then
General Lee.
and then he goes to Blondie. He's like, "What's the general's name again?"
Yeah.
Lee. Yeah, praise to General Lee or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, yeah, we
That's
have
funny.
more slaves for everybody, and then they roll up and they're actually.
That was a good visual.
I know, great gag because it looked like it from afar.
Yeah.
They had that dust.
Yeah.
They're covered in the ash of their enemy.
I think, but I mean,
Very War of the Worlds style.
Yeah.
I mean,
Steven
but
Spielberg.
speaking upon the Civil War aspect of it all, I think it definitely adds a little bit of oomph to the pretty simple story that's being told with the ugly and the good, is because like at the core part of the movie, the story is really just cut and dry, but you add the societal turmoil into the mix. It kind of mixes it up, but I feel like what could have been improved upon is make it a little bit more important to their journey. It's more so kind of like a spectacle, rather, at least for myself, it's more of a spectacle and like filler rather than something that actually is impactful to the characters. It's just sort of like kind of
It's a side quest.
Exactly. It's kind of like a trip in the sidewalk. Like you're like, "Oop," but it's not.
It's an interesting analogy. I thought it was the Civil War aspect of it. It just like kind of put it into perspective as to like what was happening at the time that this was taking place, because there are things that in history that like happened in one part of the world that something else that you wouldn't think happened a long time ago is happening at the same time.
Yeah.
Like Shakespeare being alive while America was being colonized.
Yeah.
Like that's in my brain, without knowing that, I was like, I feel like he existed so long before that, but America was being founded essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's another crazy thing to put into perspective.
Another one that I seen floating around is that the samurai were officially abolished as a caste in Japanese society during the Meiji Restoration, 1867. The first ever fax machine was invented in 1843, and Abraham Lincoln was assassinated in 1865. So there's a 22-year window where a samurai could have sent a fax to Abraham Lincoln.
That's awesome.
Abraham Lincoln, don't go to the theater.
Beep, 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 beep. Oh, yeah, that's Morse code. Sorry, that's a whip worthy.
Could you imagine like samurais like being a part of the Civil War, just slashing down Confederates?
That'd be sick. It's basically the plot of Wolverine Origins or whatever.
Who do you think? What side would they be on?
The samurai?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely the South.
The South?
Yeah.
Yeah, they would.
Yeah.
The Japanese.
They're all about
the Japanese
purity of the race.
The Japanese were very fascist in the past, not now.
Thanks for clarifying that, Tyler.
Yeah. But speaking of about the bridge, you had a little trivia that I read up on too. But it's kind of a funny, kind of tragic event that they had to go through.
Tragic?
Yeah. So.
Oh my god.
So.
No, not that tragic, but for the filmmaking, it was tragic.
Yeah, the film was shot mainly in the Spanish desert, and they used the actual Spanish army, about 1,500 Spanish soldiers essentially.
Jesus.
So the Spanish army captain that was in charge was Sergio Leone. Gave him basically the honor to blow the fuse.
Nice.
As a sign of gratitude for their army's collaboration with the movie. Mm-hmm. So they agreed to blow the bridge up, and when Leone gave the signal "vai," which is go, over the walkie-talkie, unfortunately, another crew member spoke on the same channel saying the words "vai, vai," which means it's okay to proceed, to a second crew member, like he wasn't talking to them.
Oh.
So, much like Tropic Thunder, the captain heard the signal, thought it was for him, blew up the bridge when no cameras were running. Sergio Leone was so upset that he fired the crewman on the walkie-talkie immediately, who just basically left in tears in his car, fled the set. The captain was so sad. for what happened. But he basically said, well, my army will rebuild the bridge for you guys so we can blow it up again. But on one condition, you have to rehire that crew member. It was a mistake.
Oh,
and he rehired him. I know, he rehired him. All was forgiven. The army rebuilt the bridge, and then they blew it up again.
So no one died?
Nope.
No.
You say tragic, I'm just like thinking, oh my God. Like
tragic from a production standpoint.
Yeah.
It's not a Rod Sterling situation.
Yeah, but I mean, you have...
I wonder what happened.
Whatever that guy's name is. From
or how long it took him to rebuild it.
The Twilight movie.
Twilight movie with the helicopter.
Oh, that's tragic. That is really sad. Really.
Some other interesting trivia here. Clint Eastwood wore the same poncho through all 3 movies. No washing.
Oh.
Yeah, he went Michael Jordan boxer style.
Yeah, he pulled a Tyler.
Yeah, that's what I was going to
say. Eli Wallach was almost killed, poisoned on set when he drank acid on accident. Ew. They had acid on set to burn the bags that had the gold coins in them, so it would make them weak and they could rip through them easier.
Yeah.
Break it down and cut it down. Someone poured acid into a lemon soda bottle for some reason, and he drank it. So afterwards, he chugged a bunch of milk and still did the scene full of sores in his mouth.
Oof. I can relate. I had...
You drank acid before?
No, it wasn't acid. It was vinegar.
Oh. Well, it's still acidic in nature.
As a kid, for some goddamn reason, I was drinking a soda. I did it to myself. I was drinking a soda, like a soda can, and I finished it, and then for some stupid reason, there was a bottle, it was like a spray bottle of vinegar, and I just like squirted it into the can. Forgot that I did that, and then when you're drinking soda and you go to like shake it to see if there's any left, and then I did that, shook it, heard that there was something in there, and I just
drank it.
I just drank it, just straight up vinegar. Not as damaging as acid.
No.
So you didn't. Okay.
Well, the worst thing I've ever done with a soda can to myself. We used to go on the Delta a lot on the boat. My parents split the cost of a ski boat with my aunt and uncle, and so we go skiing, tubing, and stuff. My parents would slalom. That's the one ski type of skiing, and we'd always bring the same sort of snacks. It was grapes, sodas, and beers for the adults. And I was popping grapes into the soda can, and my thumb went into the soda. I was really little, and it was stuck. So I'm like twisting it, trying to get it out.
Ooh, okay.
Unknowingly slicing the shit out of my thumb, and I knew I was hurting but I didn't realize just how bad I was until I pulled it out, and it's like sliced all the way across my entire thumb, and I was like, I'm gonna get in trouble if I show my parents this. So I just hit it.
Well.
Basically.
I mean, so you drank vinegar, you sliced your hand. Well, I drank piss out of a soda can before.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is there piss in the soda can?
You pissed in it.
I actually replaced soda can with beer can. Yeah. This was... Yeah. Yeah, so I pissed in a beer can, and then...
Why?
Because I didn't want to go to the bathroom.
Where were you?
In my bedroom.
You pissed in a can in your bedroom instead of getting up?
Yeah.
You made a dirty water in your bedroom.
I did. Yeah.
He had a piss drawer.
How do you feel about that?
Well,
proud?
Of course I don't feel proud. I can't even believe I'm even putting this out on the air.
It's a shame. Damn, that life looks good.
Of course I feel ashamed of it. Of course I did. So yeah, no, I pissed in a beer can, and then I took a nap after drinking said beer, and then I woke up and I was like, oh, I still have, like, I shook the can like Joseph did with the vinegar. I shook it and I was like, oh wow, I thought I drank all this. And then I was like,
and then you drank a beer again through the piss.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah,
welcome to Ultra Hell.
I don't even know how we even got. Oh yeah, because of the acid. Yeah. So
this bit again.
There's no bit. Yeah, so that was pretty bad, and I'm ashamed, and I'm embarrassed. But I'd like to, I mean,
come clean,
show and tell.
Hey, that's the first. Yeah, that's the first part in growth is admitting. Hey, you're here. You're pissing in a can. A couple more trivia things. So there's the bit when Tuco has the guy who's sneaking up on him. He's in the bubble bath, and he shoots him. He's got the gun in the bubble bath. Great gag, by the way.
Yeah.
And he says, "When you have to shoot. Don't talk."
I love that line. I love that line.
Improvised by Eli Wallach right there.
God damn, that's a genius.
Yeah, great line.
Improv.
Yeah, exactly. 100% improv. Ennio Morricone's iconic theme music was designed to mimic the sounds of a howling coyote. That's what he says. Originally, Morricone didn't want to use the trumpet, but Leone insisted. Along with electric and acoustic guitars and the Tarzan yell, the trumpet became the most distinctive part of the entire soundtrack.
Wow.
Let's see what else. Clint Eastwood refused to turn up for work at the beginning of the shot until the writer-director Sergio Leone agreed to pay his $250,000 fee in addition to a brand new Ferrari.
Wow.
What an asshole. Jesus Christ.
And the actual...
a Ferrari, really?
The actual price of the movie, the budget, $1.6 million. And in 1966, that would equate to about $16 million today.
Wow.
Yeah, so still a relatively modest budget, but that was considered big back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for a 3-hour movie, you're basically making 2 movies.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think it's
Are all the
That's a
other
steal.
2 movies also 3 hours long?
I don't know. Let's look it up.
I mean, if it matches the quality of the good, the bad, and the ugly, like I wouldn't mind that.
It sounds like they had no stuntmen on this because Eli Wallach cheated death in addition to the train scene, also in the first scene where he's riding away on a horse with his hands tied behind his back.
Dude. There's so this movie and as well the John Wayne one I watched. There's a number of times where I'm like, that horse, they killed that horse for this. They probably killed the horse.
They
And
traumatize horses in this movie for sure.
And the people who are getting like shot off the horses and just falling or getting drugged behind the horse, you're like, fuck.
That hurts.
In 1956, there's no way there was like CG or any of that stuff.
There's no way. They were just getting...
They did not have that technology,
No.
the stunt technology that they have
And
now.
I do. There is a scene I wanted to point out. It's in the beginning of the movie where Ugly is chasing after the horse that Blondie's riding away, and he jumps up on the horse as it's going like nearly full speed. That was impressive because I knew that there wasn't any sort of camera magic going on. Like that man literally jumped up on a moving horse. That's impressive.
So the first one, A Fistful of Dollars, hour 39 minutes for a few dollars more, 212, and Good, Bad, and the Ugly.
That first one,
258.
I'm like excited to watch it now because it's only an hour and a half.
Yeah, they went up every 40 minutes every movie.
It's the third movie. It's got to be 3 hours. Second movie, 2 hours. First movie, 1 hour.
Fistful of Dollars. I'm looking at like the little trailer here, and it's like on IMDb. I've seen a lot of these shots before, and I'll say that there's a lot of shots from this and from other, not specifically spaghetti westerns, but westerns of the era, 50s and 60s westerns that are direct pull from Kurosawa movies.
Yeah.
So it's Italian filmmakers copying a Japanese filmmaker, mimicking an American film style to give you something completely different.
I think that's pretty.
So it's
pretty dope.
So it's
pretty good.
American westerns copying Japanese, or is it?
I think it was
Italian.
both.
Italian copying
It
Japanese.
was both. I think
both.
I think it was both. So it's like the American film, like The Magnificent Seven, was also in like I think mid '60s as well, before all the spaghetti stuff came out. I think it's like kind of there's a timeline overlaps there, obviously, but
Yeah.
But I know The Magnificent Seven was just a ripoff of Seven Samurai, and I don't know about shot composition, but I'm sure there was a number of that kind of borrowed from there. But you watch Yojimbo and Sanjuro, really hard to ignore that shot composition of even the duel in the street. You know, that like the good guy at the very end and the bad guy here in the foreground. You just see their feet on the foreground, and you see the guy small way off in the distance, and it's a long row of buildings on the side.
Yeah,
that's from Yojimbo.
Oh,
and it's like this shot. You're like, oh fuck, that's like 1955 or whatever.
Yeah,
and then they are copying it for still to this day.
Yeah,
70 years later, they're still using that same shot. It's like when Akira did this motorcycle slide thing.
Yeah.
Now everybody does. That's how you stop a cool way to stop a motorcycle.
Yeah. Have you guys seen Rango?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we reviewed it.
We reviewed it.
Oh, we did.
Fucking show.
We did.
Yes.
Oh, well, I was thinking. I can't believe I forgot.
I'm pretty sure that's the only reason why you watched it.
No, I watched it before we did it on the show, which I already.
You didn't remember we did it on the show.
That's exactly what I'm saying. I forgot. We've been doing this show for like almost 5 years. Come on, give me a break.
There's only so many.
I was thinking like how the snake in Rango is just so reminiscent of Angel Eyes, like just really like he looks like a snake.
Just like a little mustache too.
Like with the eyes. Like I don't even know if they did anything to his like face.
Lee Van Cleef?
To do like for his face to.
You're talking about Lee Van Cleef?
Yes. I don't even know what they did to his face to make him look menacing. Or
it's just his face.
Well, he's a menacing looking man.
It's called acting.
Yeah.
Oh.
He's got RMF, resting menace face.
Well, it's just like it felt like his eyes were just like glowing. It was really impressive. I thought they did something with his face to
They
make
put a
it
light on it, maybe.
Yeah, maybe
Makeup, perhaps.
Maybe I don't know. I just thought he really looked bad. He looked like the bad, but he wasn't even really the bad in a real sense. He was a captain or a colonel in the Union, so he was fighting against the ownership of slaves. So I mean, that's not that bad.
He murdered a man and his child, and right, he murdered his man and his child, like right in his introduction.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. Yeah, I take that back.
Because he's like, he says, I always complete the job. After I get paid, I always complete the job.
Yep.
And then he kills the old man who gave him the job.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
he took the second job.
Yeah, he took the second job.
That's
I thought
his
that
night
was
shift
cool.
job.
Yeah, I thought that was
also a very brutal way, like uncut shot, just him blowing him way through the pillow.
Yeah,
He actually killed him too.
Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah,
used a real gun.
Yeah, real gun, real guy,
real bullets.
Pulled a Baldwin.
Oh no! You beat me to it, damn it.
Clint Eastwood did not smoke, and he hated smoking cigars, but Sergio Leone had him take multiple takes, which pissed him off. According to Eli Wallach, Clint Eastwood would sometimes tell Leone, "You better get it right this time because I'm gonna go throw up."
I thought he did like smoking. That's so surprising.
No.
Yeah, Sergio Leone and Clint Eastwood ended their relationship after this movie. They did not like each other very much.
I'm sick and tired of smoking your cigars, Leone.
It was mainly Clint Eastwood getting tired of Sergio Leone and his neat perfectionism.
Oh, he's like a Fincher.
And they had a lot of he had a lot of animosity towards Sergio because of it. I mean, he's done 3 movies now with him. And they were planning on doing another movie much later, or Sergio wanted to do another movie with him much later in his life, but he died.
And yeah, that was Once Upon a Time in the West, right?
I think.
Yeah, I read that same bit, and that Charles Bronson essentially plays a Clint Eastwood type in that movie. And I streaming picked that a while ago. It's really fantastic. Okay. I don't know if I would consider that spaghetti because it was an American production. Even though Leone directed it, it's slightly different. And what's our time like? What are we running on right now?
We're
a little over an hour.
Yeah.
All right. I'm not going to go into it. I have some other interesting kind of distinctions between spaghetti westerns, modern westerns, and then postmodern. There's classical, postmodern, and modernist and revisionist westerns. And there's a weird kind of, like, most people just consider it spaghetti and then like American classic.
Okay.
But then there's everything that came after that, which flips it all on its head. But we can get into that next week because that's going to take some time.
Okay.
We'll continue this lesson later.
Yeah. And then going back to Tarantino, he kind of like does this sort of this sort of completes a cycle in a way. In Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, he has a character, Rick Dalton, who goes and makes spaghetti westerns.
Yep.
Yeah. So he's sort of like the Clint Eastwood character in that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was. I'm excited to go back and watch the other 2. I guess I'll go back. I'm not gonna watch them backwards. I guess it doesn't really matter though.
At this point, I'm gonna watch them 1 and 2 after this.
Yeah. But yeah. So that was anything else?
No, I gave it an A.
Oh, okay.
I guess I don't want it to like we don't have to take much time for it or whatever. But it's a fucking A.
Easy A.
All right, let's do grades now.
Okay, A.
Okay. A. Caught me off guard with that one. Yeah. We're still doing the formality of the grades.
We don't have to. Whatever you want.
Well, I mean, I think we could all agree it's an A movie. Like, it's pretty.
It's
much
more just the structure of the show.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like
once we get to the Hudson Ridge Massacre, it'll be all D's.
All right. Well,
I don't know. We'll see.
But yeah, that's it.
The good.
Oh yeah, I forgot we don't have a wheel to spin now, so we don't have much else to do. I can play the intro music again. How about that? Actually, that's this one.
Well, Pete, you can remind us what is the movie that we are going to be watching next.
So yeah, that was my movie, and we're gonna go in a sort of circle manner, I guess, clockwise. Pete, since you're sitting on the where would be going, which movie are we gonna be reviewing for next week?
Next movie is gonna be The Great Silence. Great Silence from 1968.
Is this a third in a series? That
I don't think so.
Okay.
And it's original title Il Grande Silencio, which who knows what that means. It's let's see here the synopsis.
20 silence. Large silence.
Venti silence. A mute gunslinger fights in the defense of a group of outlaws and a vengeful young widow against a group of ruthless bounty hunters. Interesting. It looks like snowy, so maybe this is where some Hateful Eight came in.
A mute?
Mute. He's mute.
Main character's mute?
Yeah. Jean-Louis Trintignant
Real Valhalla.
plays Silence.
Valhalla Rising.
Klaus Kinski plays Loco, which means the tiger.
He's going to be crazy.
Frank Wolf plays Sheriff Burnett. Luigi Pestilli plays Polycut. Vonetta McGee is Pauline. Mario Brega as Martin.
Hey, Luigi Pestilli was in this movie, Good, Bad, and Ugly.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he played the priest or the pastor or whatever.
Oh,
that guy?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, it makes sense because when that scene happened, I was like, "There's no way that guy speaks English. They're heavy dubbing this."
The words didn't even match.
No, there's a lot of that ADR on there. So
yeah,
but Klaus Kinski in this that's kind of interesting. That's exciting to me.
Tigrero.
Yeah, let's see who directed this. This is directed by Sergio Carbucci.
The other Sergio.
Sweet.
The more violent Sergio.
Supposedly, yeah, both of the Sergios were very violent in comparison to the Americans. So
yeah,
I guess we'll find out if it holds up to the bloody reputation.
Sweet.
All right. Anything else you guys want to cover?
No.
Okay. I'll just remind the Patreon one more time. I just made the post in there a couple minutes ago. Put your suggestions for the fourth movie that we're going to cover into that Patreon post. Mm-hmm. And if you see someone else, Joel or Heather or somebody post in there and said, "This is what I want to," if you think, "Oh, that's a great one," comment on it, upvote it, like it, whatever. We'll have a discussion, over the next week or two or so, and then after Tyler's movie review, Hudson River Massacre, we'll make a decision on which one we're going to cover, the fourth one. So get involved. We want to hear from the class.
Yes.
And then if we don't hear anything, then
there's already a couple of comments in there.
Okay, cool.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So,
woo.
So, anyways, and speaking of the Patreon, thank you to our cool ass Yardie dudes. Those are our highest level Patreon members. That is Michael, Heather, Steven, Javier, and Chris. If you want to support us on the Patreon, you can do so. Patreon.com/middleclassfilmclass, or just go on the YouTube page, watch us there. We are monetized now and living the big life.
Yes.
I think our revenue stream is almost to $10 at this point.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and 5 of that comes from Angry Otter's $5 donation.
Oh.
So
we got like $60 from Uncle Trip.
Yeah, that's true. You're right there. We do have Uncle Trip's donation.
Yeah.
So we got to
executive producer Uncle Trip.
We can't even get to the money. Like we can't even withdraw it until it gets to $100, which is so funny.
They're holding our money hostage.
I know, like the fucking government.
You're like, well, you got to get up to $100. You got to be good.
We want our money.
I like that.
Yeah.
I lead up.
So until next time. Thank you for joining us as we review the granddaddy of all spaghetti western movies, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Next week, we're going to dive in a little bit more, learn more about the genre or subgenre, whatever you want to call it. And we're going to watch 1968's The Great Silence, starring Klaus Kinski. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/MCFC podcast, and send us an email, mcfcpodcast@gmail.com.
And please follow us on Instagram at Middle Class Film Class.
And follow us on TikTok at Middle Class Film Class and on Twitter at Podcast MCFC.
All right, guys, it's been fun. We'll see you next time.
See ya.
See ya.